With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
I'm Kevin Orchard. Tua Tagovailoa has his new contract. It is the breaking news that we're following here on SportsCenter this hour. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting that Tua will sign a 4-year extension with the Miami Dolphins worth $212.4 million. $167 million of that is in guaranteed money. The average annual value of $53.1 million per year is the third most in the league. Tua was entering the final year of his rookie contract. He had not participated in training camp either of the first 2 days as he awaited a new deal. A year ago, Tua led the NFL in passing with over 4,600 yards. Baseball's trade deadline comes your way on Tuesday. The action is picked up over the last 24 hours. The Phillies and the Orioles made a deal today. Philadelphia lands outfielder Austin Hayes. Baltimore gets right-hander Sir Anthony Dominguez and outfielder Christian Pache in return. The Red Sox pick up lefty James Paxton from the Dodgers. Boston tries to stabilize its rotation for a postseason run. They enter a weekend series with the Yankees, just a game back of Kansas City for the final wildcard spots, and 3 back of New York in the loss column for the top wildcard position.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman, and coming up Monday, I'll get you ready for the MLB trade deadline with my top teams that need to make a blockbuster trade. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You, sir. And Mr. Toby Tomplake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Rainy day across the state. Buckle up, drive safe wherever you're going. Slimbo, Ronnie Rantz later this hour. Jake Butt, former Michigan tight end, now at the Big Ten Network. He's here 1 hour from right now. Kendall Rogers will be here. Ross Jackson in hour 3 for a Saints Camp Report. LSU pitcher DJ Primeaux up in the Cape. He'll be here in hour 3. We got a ton to do, but let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Day 3 of Saints camp out in Irvine, California. There was another notable injury and some shuffling among starters that I want to get to. But here was Dennis Allen with the media after practice on sort of the balance they're finding offensively and defensively.
Overall, I thought another good practice. I was just telling the team, there's been some things I've seen, defensively each day that I've really been pleased about, and there's been some things offensively that I've been really pleased about. So, what you're looking for is a little bit of that, ebb and flow to practice, and you don't ever want to see one side of the ball dominate the whole practice. I don't think we've seen that yet. So we're making progress, and yet we still have a long way to go.
All right, like to hear it. I would say there has been one unfortunate piece of practice so far through 3 days that have sort of cast a shadow. Day one, Kendall Miller left with a hamstring injury. Day two, Trajan Jeffcoat left with a dislocated elbow. And day three, there was another injury, this time to Marshon Lattimore.
It looked like Marshon left early and didn't come back.
Yeah, he left with a little bit of a hip flexor.
So hip flexor for Marshon Lattimore. He had that injury, that same injury, by the way, at the Combine back in 2017, of the year he was drafted. And Lattimore is, you throw out the caveat, when he's healthy, when he's right, he's still one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. The problem for Marshon Lattimore has been he has missed 17 games combined over the last 2 years. He had the lacerated kidney a couple of years ago. Then last year, the ankle took him away from the team. So he's effectively missed a full season combined over the last 2 years. And all the conversation this offseason was Marshon Lattimore trade rumors and whether or not that was actually going to happen. The Saints seem bullish on keeping Lattimore. Maybe that is rooted more so in the fact that they didn't have what they felt was a suitable offer. But you're better with Lattimore. You are a better team with Marshon Lattimore on the field. The question is, can you keep him on the field? Similar to the conversation Dennis Allen was alluding to earlier this week with Kendall Miller. So Kool-Aid McKinstry stepped up and took the reps with the ones when Marshon Lattimore was not out there. So we'll see how long he might be out with that hip flexor, when they might get him back. Obviously, the target is you just want to be healthy and ready to roll for week one. At this point, we're talking about training camp, and Lattimore's a veteran player. We all know that. But we'll continue to follow the injuries as that has become a little bit of an underlying story. By the way, Dennis Allen was asked for an update on Kendall Miller after practice on Friday.
We also saw Kendall Miller just before practice in uniform. Is he doing any better?
He's going through the hamstring rehab process. So that's where he's at.
Bro, he is salty. Dennis Allen is not happy with Kendall Miller. I mean, that is a guy that's usually affable and kind of friendly, more of the perspective of a player's coach. You can hear it. I mean, you don't have to be a human psychologist or to know Dennis Allen to understand that. Like, just listen to the tone. There's guys that realize they got to make an impact this year. Kendall Miller's one of them. And listen, that's a guy he signed off on. I mean, he drafted Kendall Miller. He was part of the staff that drafted Kendall Miller. They have higher expectations for a guy they took in round 3. So, especially with the Kamara contract situation. That's one we're going to have to keep following. Outside of that, the injuries and the updates there was maybe one notable on-field difference on Friday. I want to take you back, actually, 24 hours if we could. So on Thursday, after practice, Dennis Allen was asked about when they might start rotating at right tackle and left guard. Remember, Trevor Penning has been at right tackle. Nick Saldiveri has been at left guard. And through 2 practices, they had taken all the reps with the first team. And Dennis Allen was asked after practice on Thursday about that. This is what he said.
Right now you have your first group, you have your second group, you have your third group. And here's what I need to see. I need to see somebody in the second group that catches my eye enough to say, hey, this guy needs to go run with the ones. Same with the third group going to the second group. And so I think we have a starting place where we're at right now. And I think we need to see that group of 5 work together and see what that looks like. But then I also think, it's really kind of the player's job to say I deserve to be up there with the ones. And when they prove they're deserving of that, then I think that's the time that we start getting them some reps there.
If you believe Dennis Allen, and I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm not saying that's a disingenuous thought, but that's what he said on Thursday. Well, turn the page to Friday's practice, and all of a sudden you had shuffling. So if you take Dennis Allen at his word, and I don't have any reason not to, but if you take Dennis Allen at his word, that would mean some of those guys with the 2s were playing better and earned reps with the 1s. And we saw Lucas Patrick spend much of the day, actually Mike Triplett tweeted this, that Lucas Patrick spent much of the day as the starting left guard, and Nick Saldiveri was bumped down with the 2s. Look, when the Saints went and signed Lucas Patrick, that was one that I was very bullish on. That's a guy that had been with Green Bay. They've been with Chicago. As a matter of fact, you had former coaches say he was the heartbeat of the team. Was he in Green Bay? On a team on a line with David Bakhtiari. You had Matt LaFleur say that guy was the heartbeat of that offensive line. So that's a guy that's a team guy. It's played all over the line that I was excited about when they signed him. And that may be the plug-and-play veteran who who beats out Nick Saldiveri. We saw him take reps with the ones. Now, Shane Lemieux is the other veteran they signed, and he suffered an ankle injury recently and was held out of Friday's practice. So Lucas Patrick taking reps with the ones at left guard was certainly noteworthy. And then at right tackle, both Landon Young, former draft pick out of Kentucky, who played last year at right tackle when Ryan Ramczyk was injured, and then Oli Udoh, the young veteran who had been with the Minnesota Vikings. Udoh also took reps at right tackle. So you're starting to see more of a rotation there with Trevor Penning as well. So does that mean Saldiveri and Penning aren't performing? Or do we take Dennis Allen at his word that those other guys are playing well enough to earn reps with the ones? I don't know. I'm not there. But if you take Dennis Allen at his word, it would seem to stand to reason that those other guys are playing better and deserve reps at the ones. And that could be a positive thing for New Orleans if all of a sudden you're creating genuine competition instead of having to find someone to fill that spot because the guy you thought was going to be a plug-and-play guy, the guy you thought would be the incumbent there, isn't playing well enough. So, again, they haven't even put on pads yet. And until they do, and really until you start to see them with game reps in the preseason, we're not going to have a really good sense of that. But this is an opportunity here to start that process and get some of those guys reps. So you're starting to see some shuffling there on the offensive line, which, as we've talked about, biggest question in fall camp for the Saints, or in training camp for the Saints. You got 3 spots up for grabs on the offensive line. Maybe the best news so far, Taliesin Fuanga, through 3 days, he's taken all the reps with the ones at left tackle. That's your first-round pick. You need him to be a plug-and-play starter this year. And so far, again, 3 days, no pads. But so far, so good. All right, it's After Further Review. Show open brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana with the great taste of Bud Light. Our friends over at Mockler Beverage. Man, they do an awesome job. Community involvement at the top of their list. Of course, in Baton Rouge, Homa, now in Southwest Louisiana as well. In the Lake Charles office servicing Southwest Louisiana. Make sure you grab plenty of ice-cold Bud Light, whatever you might be doing. If you're going to be kicking back, watching the USA kick a little tail in the Olympics, is there anything more American than grabbing an ice-cold Bud Light and watching America do damage on the rest of the world in the Olympics? Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light. And by the way, speaking of all the AB products and Mockler Beverage, Michelob Ultra is an official beer sponsor of Team USA, so that's another Anheuser-Busch product. But of course, shout out to Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. All right, y'all, quick break. We're going to shuffle things a little bit. We'll do Around the SEC next. Slimbo, Ronnie Rantz, he'll be in studio at the bottom of this hour. And Muse will give us our Olympic update at the end of hour number 1. Really looking forward to that. God, we got a lot to do today, man. Jake Butt, a former Michigan tight end who's now at the Big Ten Network. He'll be here in 45 minutes here to start hour number 2. We just got a ton. Ross Jackson, the start of hour 3 in his slot all throughout Saints camp. Man, we are jam-packed on a Friday. The Terrios are at Disney World. The Terrio girls had the national soccer tournament this week, and so on their way driving back, they stopped at Disney, and so that's where so no Terrio today. He'll be back next Friday. All right, stick around with us. It's AFR.
AFR.
Need to buy a home? You need Darren James. You need to sell your home? You need Darren James. Listen, over the years, I've had the opportunity to talk literally thousands of times about Darren James. And one of the things, maybe more than any other, that really just always hits home and stands out in my mind is when Darren tells me, Matt, 73%, 3 out of 4 people that list their home for sale by owner end up hiring a realtor. Maybe it's you don't know how to properly price your home. Maybe it's just the mountains of paperwork you're not familiar with, inspections, all the other things. Maybe you just don't have time to be home for showings. Ultimately, you're going to hire a realtor. You want to hire the best. That's Darren James. Darren James literally sold more homes than any other realtor in Louisiana last year, and he was number 14 in America on the Real Trends list of the top 1% of realtors in America. You need to sell your home. You need the best. You need Darren James. Go to agent225.com.
Think real estate. Think Darren James.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. So it's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Érase una vez un Infinity. Imaginación y desafiarte a soñar con 3 lujosas filas de asientos. El total filas.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Remember last week at SEC Football Media Days, Georgia coach Kirby Smart kind of took a little bit of a shot at Oregon and Dan Lanning. Give a listen if you missed this.
And this year we took Nike, who I've had the great pleasure of meeting Phil Knight and his wonderful wife Penny, and I wish I could get some of that NIL money that he's sharing with Dan Lanning, but that's another note.
So that didn't maybe necessarily land for a lot of people. Kirby and Dan Lanning have a really good relationship, but you probably remember the story where Rick Neuheisel was doing radio, I think on Sirius XM, and he was just relaying a story that he had with, as he said it, some people around Oregon that effectively, this was like a secondhand story where Rick Neuheisel was saying that Oregon was giving unlimited NIL, and that it's gained a lot of traction since then. So that's what Kirby was alluding to. And listen, when you're Kirby and you've got the most dominant program in college football and have for the last half decade, you've got a little cover to where you can kind of say what you want. Similar to when Nick talked about Jimbo buying a class, right? Jimbo didn't appreciate it. Remember, he lashed back, but it was, Nick having the opportunity to do that because he was Nick Saban. Say what he wanted. Well, Dan Lanning was at Big 18 media days and had a little clap back at Kirby.
We don't have that yet. I think it's impressive that, guys like Kirby have been signing the number 1 class in the nation without, any NIL money this entire time. So impressive. No. Obviously, Coach Smart took a little shot at us. I don't think it's a serious. If you want to be a top 10 team in college football, you better have great support. We have that.
Now, he did go on to say, I consider Smart a great mentor. I wouldn't be here if not for guys like that. He's changed my career. I probably learned more from Coach Smart than any other coach that I've worked with my entire career. So I think they're having a little fun with each other. But on one hand, it kind of feels like, Kirby, you can get away with saying that because you're Georgia and you're Kirby and you have the cover to do that. If you're Dan Lanning and you're clapping back, it's like, hey, man, why don't you just simmer down a little bit now, man? I mean, you made it to a Pac-12 championship game a year ago and got bounced by Washington. Like, why don't you win something before you start taking shots at the guy that's won a couple of national championships already? Anyway, for whatever it's worth, just that's one that they keep going back and forth. By the way, Lanning was on the McAfee show. But yeah, I mean, I don't know why. I'll just tell you from my perspective. I don't know why. Oh, there it is. Sorry. I lost my paper. I was crumpling up. I'm sorry. I was crumpling up this paper, as I am a wont to do from time to time. And
do that often.
You know I do. And I know that I have notes on another sheet of paper, and I was like, did I put my notes on the back of this paper? So that's why I uncrumpled it to see. But no, the notes are on the back of this piece of paper right here. So anyway, I made it. What was I saying? Something.
Yeah, Dan Lanning shouldn't take shots?
And no, it's NIL. So
NIL, yeah.
The thing about NIL is, I don't know why anybody would take shots at anybody for NIL because everyone's doing it. If you're taking shots, it's probably just rooted in some type of jealousy, envy, sort of thing like that. Like, yes, of course, everyone would like a better NIL program. When Ross Bjork at Ohio State comes forward and says, we've got $20 million in NIL deals on our roster a year ago. Like, you could look at that and you could throw shade, but deep down, you all want to have $20 million to be able to do NIL deals on your roster. So, whatever, Dan Lanning, whatever, Kirby. Like, play your games, but we all know that everybody wants to do more in NIL. I mean, LSU is eagerly trying to catch up in NIL as well, so we'll see how they can do it. All right, one guy who doesn't is Dabo Swinney. Has not wanted to participate at all, really, in NIL or the transfer portal, for that matter. Dabo did have some comments about the new scholarship rules, and we do have Kendall Rogers coming in an hour from right now, because if you missed it yesterday, we discussed the changes in scholarships. So football is going from 85 scholarships to 105 next year, and baseball is going to go to head count scholarships. So you're going to go from 11.7 to 34 scholarships. So every player on the baseball team will have a full scholarship. It's great for baseball. But Dabo is bemoaning the new scholarship rules because it effectively is going to wind up doing away, for all intents and purposes, you're doing away with a walk-on program. Here was Dabo.
The crazy thing is there's not many coaches that want 105 scholarships. We want to keep our walk-ons. It's hard to manage, that many guys. And when you have that many guys on scholarship, you think you got transfers now. You wait till that number gets there. It's going to be a lot. So it's going to change a lot of things. But it's a product of, the lawsuit that was settled. I don't think there was an intention to say, okay, you can have no more walk-ons. I think just the way it was settled was whatever your roster size is, that's your scholarship limit. So you couldn't limit scholarships. And so obviously that's where administrators get together and say, no, wait a minute, we can't have 130 guys on scholarship. So we're going to have to reduce the roster.
The part where Dabo is correct is he says it wasn't necessarily the intent to do away with walk-ons. And I am sympathetic to that. I mean, there's great walk-on stories. Dabo at Alabama. There's a restaurant empire built in Baton Rouge called Walk-Ons because Brandon and Jack were basketball walk-ons. Now, that's not going to change for basketball because that's already a head count sport. But the part Dabo is right about in there, he said it wasn't anybody's intention to do away with walk-ons. It's a product of the lawsuit settlement. And he's right. This is a product of the lawsuit settlement. But you know why there was a lawsuit, right? Because all the adults for decades got really greedy and kept getting richer and richer and richer and richer. And finally, the free labor said, hey, we're not good with this. You can always point the finger back at the kids. But look at the genesis of all of this. We are where we are because the adults in the room saw opportunities to grow revenue, to grow money, to grow salaries, to get richer. And they did it. And ultimately, they flew too close to the sun. And now you have the situation that you have. And there ain't no putting the toothpaste back in the tube on this. You're not going the other way. It's just now going to be a matter of managing what the new age of college athletics looks like as we move through NIL, portal, head count, sports, scholarships, all that sort of stuff. And there is going to be a lot of collateral damage. There's no doubt about it. But we are where we are, not because of the kids pushing back, but because the adults pushed them so far that they had no choice but to push back. All right, it's after further review. I'm glad you're hanging out with us here. Brought to you by Optimize, GeneratorPeople.com. Man, it is dark as night outside right now. Walked in this, in the studio we have no windows, but outside I was looking out on the fire escape. It is dark as night right now. And you realize, y'all, it is storm season. There's a disturbance out in the Atlantic right now, and you know it's only a matter of time when we live here before a storm comes and it knocks the power out. It's only a matter of time. And the worst time to start thinking about that is when the storm's in the Gulf bearing down on you. And I'm telling you, I lived through it with Ida. We lost power for 7 days. And when you got a special needs child who has medicines that need to stay cold and other things like that, or maybe you have an elderly person with you, or maybe you just don't want your family to be uncomfortable. That was the tipping point for us to get a generator. And let this be the call for you. GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com. Call Optimize. 4 physical locations from Lake Charles to Slidell, points in between. So no matter where you are in the 1012 corridor, our friends over at Optimize can get to you quickly. They keep inventory on hand. They've got the relationships and the know-how with the power company, with the city parish to make sure that they get your permits and get that thing installed according to permit, according to code, so that when the power goes out, boom, your generator pops on, and it's like nothing ever happened. It's Optimized. Go to GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com. Okay, do it every day about this time. Well, actually a little earlier because we got Slimbo coming in studio next. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Georgia Bulldogs.
This is a terrible story. Georgia wide receiver Ra Thomas was arrested Friday morning on multiple family violence charges, charged with cruelty to children family violence and 2 misdemeanor counts of battery family violence. Thomas faces an immediate suspension after being charged with felony. It's his second arrest on family violence charges since transferring to Georgia from Mississippi State a year ago. Thomas did start 8 games for the Bulldogs last season. He was sidelined for 3 of them with a broken foot. He is expected to be a big part of Georgia's passing game this year with Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey departing for the NFL.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Alabama has lost a cornerback commit. Alabama's lost a cornerback commit? You ever heard of Jamarian Gordon?
Actually, no, I haven't.
That's okay. He was committed to Alabama, Muse. What does that tell you about Jamarian Gordon?
He's probably pretty good.
Probably a pretty good football player, right? Oh, yeah. Cornerback. You know where he's from?
I don't. Where's he from?
Jackson, Alabama.
Oh, in-state guy.
An in-state cornerback. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 stars, Muse. You better get the stars right because those Bammers are going to come after you. Even if you get the Bama bump. Well, Muse, Jamarian Gordon, 4-star cornerback, as high as the number 7 player in the state of Alabama for the class of 2026. 6 foot, 175-pounder. But guess what? He told Kalen DeBoer, "No thanks, DeBoering. I'm not going to play my ball on Nick Saban Field inside of Brian Dennehy Stadium." He heard there was a sinkhole coming pretty soon there, Muse. That's what he heard. So he's taking his talents to the state of Florida, Muse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gators?
No, Muse. Not the Gators. That would be almost understandable.
Makes sense.
SEC to SEC. Nope. Not going to be a Gator.
Not a lot of stability there at head coach right now, potentially. Florida State. Got to be Florida State. Undefeated season last year.
Not going to be a Seminole, Muse. Passing on the Noles. As good a job last year as Mike Norvell did, Jamarian Gordon said, "No thanks, Chief Osceola. I'm not interested in riding on Renegade with that flaming spear to midfield. I don't want to go from the Flames of Tuscaloosa to the Flames at midfield there at Doak Campbell Stadium. Nope, not Florida State, Muse.
Well, it's got to be Miami. I mean, Mario Cristobal, they've been hot on the recruiting trail. It's got to be Miami.
Gotta be Muse. It's not Miami, Muse.
What?
Not going down to Coral Gables either. Not going to play for the U. Michael Irvin, pah. Little Havana, pah. The Orange Bowl, pah. Not playing for them either, Muse. Our dear friend Jamarian Gordon, 4-star cornerback, number 7 player in the state of Alabama, ranked as high as number 150 overall in the country. He's decommitted from Alabama, Muse. And he's flipped to UCF. The Knights, Muse! The Knights! Jamarian Gordon said, I don't want to be a Crimson Tide. I'm going to play for an American Athletic Conference school that just moved into the Big 12 just because, which actually might not even be as strong as the American Athletic Conference, Muse. A school that just went sub 500 in their inaugural year in the Big 12, Muse. That's where he's going. He said, hey, Kalen DeBoer, pah, pah, pah on you. And your elephant dropping right out of your tail. He's more interested in playing for the Nuss Bus, Muse. Excuse me. He's more interested in playing for the Gus Bus, Muse.
Semantics.
No, that's not semantics. That's actual, literal. I need Gus Bus, not Nuss Bus. Gus beat Bama 3 times, Muse.
I remember that.
Gus owned Alabama, Muse. Not really, he was 3-5 against, but he beat him 3 times, Muse. So many times Les Miles beat him as well.
I remember that.
He's a big fan of NASA, Muse.
Must be.
Likes Mickey Mouse and Disney World. He said, I don't care about your Dreamland barbecue. They got rocket ships in Orlando.
They do.
I'm more on that than I am your stupid Crimson Tide rammer jammer nonsense. I don't want to be a part of something that's burning to the ground. I want to be a part of something where the fire is lit underneath and it's propelling that rocket ship up to the moon, and that's where the Gus Bus is headed. He knows where Kalen DeBoer's going. Right into that sinkhole. Right at the 50-yard line of Nick Saban Field inside of Brian Dennehy Stadium, and there ain't nothing you can do to stop it. Bama fans are handling this real well on Twitter.
Are they? I figured they might.
I don't think I can read some of the tweets. I just love the fact that every time a player decommits, Bama fans immediately come to my Twitter. Burn! Bama lost a recruiting staffer to Wisconsin in a commitment to Central Florida.
Back-to-back days.
Back-to-back days. It's like the sports radio universe is conspiring and aligning just to give me fodder. And none of them know how to handle it. Some guy on Twitter suggested that I perform fellatio on him.
See, you can read the tweets. Look at that. You did that okay.
It's so good. All right, it's after further review. Ronnie Rantz. Slimbo's here next. Stick around. Ooh, big guy.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Go to getgordon.com. Getgordon.com. Why is that so fun for me? I don't know why that is. Like, it shouldn't be as fun as it is for me. I know it's going to happen every time I do it. It's just still way too much fun for me. All right, getgordon.com. Getgordon.com. You've been injured in an accident. If it's... Hey, we went from Jamarian Gordon. Hey, you know who got Gordon? The Gus Bus. UCF got Gordon. Jamarian Gordon. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, do what injured people in our state have done for more than 30 years. More than 10,000 Louisianians helped. More than $2 billion in loans recovered. Our guy Slimbo will be here. Old Ruger Gordon had the Gordon McKernan night out at the Rougarou earlier this summer. Of course, great community partner over at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. All over the state of Louisiana, you know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. So it's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Oh, there was also a guy on Twitter that said I'm too old to be using emojis. Can I get a ruling?
Yeah, there's no age limit on emoji use, pal.
Stupid.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
They're so triggered. All right, you still have the Olympic update coming up here in the next segment. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Oh, Slimbo, Ronnie Rantz, Ruger here for a couple of minutes. How are you, Ruger?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Everyone say some prayers out there. Anyone, if you've got any special rain dances, you know how to do. If there's you have Indian blood in you, we could use some over here at Goldsby Field. We're getting ready for tonight's game. The tarp's been on the field for 24 hours, and we will even start like 9 o'clock tonight if we have to, man. It's the final home game of the year, and we got Jerry Lane fireworks tonight. So say a little prayer.
Tonight's game, 7 o'clock, is the scheduled first pitch. I mean, I say a lot of rain. I do a lot of rain dances, Ruger, though, but as the owner of a roofing company, I kind of want, you know what I mean? It's like you want the rain.
We're on different teams, clearly.
That's hey, but listen, after getting rain like every day for like an entire week, we could let it. It's okay. We can let up. All right, let's get this game in tonight for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Over at Goolsby Field. Hey, give us a little bit of a rundown how the season's gone.
So right now we're a couple games below 500. We're battling for our playoff life. We're still in it as we speak. We have to win all 3 games this weekend and get a little help from the Cane Cutters. So last home game tonight against the Lake Charles Gumbo Gators. Then we go on the road Saturday, Sunday, play over at McNeese. Over all turf field, by the way, over at McNeese. God, I'm jealous. And Saturday, Sunday night over there. So we got to win all 3 and get a little help.
It's when you realize priorities, right? Like nobody likes all turf fields, right? Like we look at Texas and Vanderbilt and like the fact that they got turf fields, and it feels like it's abhorrent, like it's offensive to the baseball gods. But when you own a Texas Collegiate League Summer Wooden Bat League team and the rain keeps giving you rainouts, it's like, man, I want turf. By the way, as much as I like the Rougarou logo, very, very good logo. That Cajun, what's it called again? The Gator?
Lake Charles Gumbo Gators.
The Gumbo Gator. It's like a gator with a Mardi Gras mask on. That's
exactly. Yeah, like that Mardi Gras head on and all. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. They did a good job over there. Good organization.
Hey, what can people expect tonight, man? 7 o'clock first pitch. What's going on?
Well, tonight's LSU Alumni Night. The Alumni Association from LSU is bringing about 30 people on the party deck, and then we're also encouraging all the fans to wear purple and gold. All our staff's going to be in purple and gold. I'm rocking a LSU Purple Tigers Rantz 21 jersey.
Love it, man.
You know, and so
wait,
we got
real
a lot
quick.
going on.
Is this authentic? An authentic 21 Ranch jersey?
It is not. It is a Chinese authentic Ranch jersey. Hopefully they were of age who made this shirt, but the authentic ones.
Oh, come on.
The authentic ones. Just a little bit snug.
I was going to say, like, well, Rougarou, look, I've been over to the sports book at LeBairs. They got the Ranch jersey there in a frame. Yeah. But my point is, I don't know how many jerseys. Like, how many were you able to keep from your playing days?
I got 3. I was able to get 3. I got a white one. That's the one that we wore in the '91 National Championship game. That one's framed in my house in a room. And then I've got the one over at LeBairs at the sports book at LeBairs. It's the purple one, which was my favorite one. It was actually a 2-button, and Coach Bertman a lot of times would let the pitchers pick what jersey they want to wear when they're pitching, and that was always my go-to. And that one's at LeBairs. And then how about this? About 10 years ago, a listener DM'd me, a caller or a listener from Tennessee, and said, "Hey man, I've got a gray Rantz baseball jersey at my house from the '93 National Championship team. I ended up buying this from someone 10 years ago or whatever. Do you want it?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So the guy sent it to me.
That's awesome, man.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
By the way, just point of correction. The white jersey was not the jersey in the '91 National Championship game. LSU wore the road gray.
It was the gray. It was the road gray. Right.
Which, by the way, the road gray with the interlocking LSU on the left breast, the piping, for me, that's just an epic LSU uniform. That and the pinstripes as well. The '93 championship game pinstripes uniform is
the Brett Laxton pinstripes, as I refer to them.
and the script tigers across the front. I mean, that for me is pinnacle LSU uniform. If you could wear the pinstripes at home with the script tigers and the traditional road grays, those two. If you just wore those two forever, I know everybody loves the golds as well, but if you just wore those two, I'd be in baseball euphoria.
And as a bigger guy, we love pinstripes.
All right, Rougarou. I do want to ask you a question too. I know you all had Blaze Priester on the Rougarou earlier. Yeah. He left to play for Team USA. I think he was out in Holland. Give me a thought on what you got to see from Priester, who Ronnie probably is going to be LSU starting catcher next year.
Well, he's definitely going to be competing for that spot. I mean, he's a talented guy. A showcase star. What I mean by that, he's a guy that if he goes to a showcase, he's got pop. He's gonna, he can hit the home. He's got home power to all fields, particularly on the left side of the field, and then really good pop time as far as when he's back there. Big, strong arm, He can get it there 1.8, 1.75, 1.8, 1.85. And super talented. I think he's very raw, and he hadn't played a lot, right? He only played 1 year junior college baseball full time, but he's super talented, big specimen, exactly what you want in a catcher. And I think as he matures as a person and they get a hold of him and they coach him up, I think it's going to be a huge fall for him because he could really blossom and help this team.
Is Ronnie Rantz, owner there, GM? What else do we have? Owner, GM, president?
Concession manager.
The Rougarous home finale tonight over at Goldsby Field. He said they're going to get it in no matter what, right? Played at 9 o'clock if you got to. So
yeah, we got the Jerry Lane fireworks show going on. And, the thing is that, like, if something happens and we end up pushing back to start a game, we're going to do the fireworks at about 9:15 no matter what. It might be the first inning, might be the fifth inning. 9:15, whenever there's a break right there, we got a 5-minute professional fireworks show. We'll get it in. So bring the kids out here. Last time to see the Rougarou this summer. It'll be a lot of fun.
All right, Ronnie, we appreciate it, man. Good luck tonight. Hope the weather cooperates.
Thank you, man.
All right, man. Be well. That's Ronnie Rantz, former Tiger pitcher. Of course, also president of Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. It just does a ton for sports in our state. The Rougarou has been a really cool thing that they've been able to watch that thing grow over the past 3 years. Been good. So good luck to him tonight. All right, it's after further review. Speaking of tonight, how about dinner at Supper Club? It's not too late, man. You can book those reservations. Can't promise that they haven't, and I actually haven't even looked today to see if they do have reservations, but you can always call right now. Sometimes they have cancellations. Sometimes the early seatings open up a little bit. So if you've been trying to get into Supper Club, or maybe on a Friday night, you leave work, you just pop over to Supper Club. Remember, it's open seating at the bar. So you could pop on into Supper Club, belly up to the bar, maybe have a craft cocktail, a glass of wine, a high-end spirit, a whiskey or a bourbon, whatever you might be into. They got a great tequila selection as well. Last time I was at Supper Club, they got a barrel pick of Old Weller Antique 107. So it's a Supper Club barrel that they went to Kentucky and did the barrel pick, and so they have bottles of that at Supper Club. You can give it a try. Anytime you get a Weller barrel pick, it's incredible. So you can try it out there at Supper Club. And told you just 2 days ago, Wednesday, they got a new cow from Sagrera butchered there in-house at Supper Club. All the cuts. It's amazing. Go try it out. Make tonight a Supper Club night. Or, of course, if you want, you're thinking ahead, it's not too early. They're starting to book for holiday parties. So if you want the entire restaurant, if you want the private dining room at Supper Club, they can accommodate any size party, but it's going to book up. Make sure you start to look at that now. SupperClubBTR.com, SupperClubBTR.com. All right, y'all, it's after further review. Thanks to Ronnie for being here. Jake Butt's going to be here in 15 minutes. You might remember Jake Butt. He was a tight end at Michigan. And, he's one of those guys that his story is one that's a cautionary tale for guys that choose to play in the bowl game, because he was going to be a highly drafted tight end out of Michigan, played in the bowl game. I think it was an Orange Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. We were talking about it yesterday, but ended up tearing his ACL in the bowl game, and then really just ended up being a flyer draft pick, and his career didn't pan out. Well, now he's doing media with the Big Ten Network, so I'm excited to have Jake Butt with us. Kendall Rogers next hour as well. I want to talk about the scholarship limit in baseball. A lot of you have asked, with the scholarship limit going to 34, what is that going to mean for LSU, programs like LSU, and then smaller programs as well? We'll get Kendall's taken up. Ross Jackson will be here at the start of hour number 3. DJ Primeaux, we are loaded. LSU pitcher DJ Primeaux tearing it up in the Cape this summer. He's going to be here in hour 3 as well. So we got a ton to do. Buckle up. It's a Friday. Hang out with us here until 6 o'clock. We'll drive you into your weekend. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time, or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. That's ONE, 1hourbr.com. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with a giant clock on the side. Y'all, it's Friday. You know that. You have a calendar or a phone that says what day it is, or you just know it's Friday. Remember, that means we're going into the weekend. If you have trouble with your AC on the weekend, you can still call River City's 1 Hour Air. Always. Nights, holidays, weekends, they're always working, and they'll still come out to see you, and they won't charge you extra to come out nights, holidays, and weekends. That's River City's 1 Hour Air. So if you run into trouble with your AC this weekend, you know who to call. The company with the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. It's River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time, or you don't pay a dime. They save you time. They save you money. So remember, give them a buzz. 752-0001, 752-0001, or online at 1hourbr.com.
There it is, the extra mile. on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
I said I think 3 times. Was I on air for any of them? No. Okay. If we had button-pushing Olympics, Musso would not be in there.
I don't know about that. I mean, sometimes the button can stick a little bit, man.
I don't know. I said I think 3 times. You just had to push the button.
Why? But you saw me working on it over here. It wouldn't go. We got it there.
All right, time for the Olympic update. Hit it, Muse. I think the opening ceremonies are still going on, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So there's really not much to report today in current action because it's the opening ceremonies. Apparently it was raining there. The setup looked pretty cool. They have the Olympic rings on the Eiffel Tower. That was good.
I think this Olympic update, look at that thing. The
logo.
The opening ceremony, have you seen they're on boats?
Yeah.
Boy, that's stupid.
I kind of like it. They'll be on boats. They get off and they walk by the Eiffel Tower, and they got the Olympic rings hanging on the Eiffel Tower. That's kind of cool.
I don't know, man. You're supposed to walk into a stadium and there's just throngs of adoring people and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Has the U.S. gone in yet?
I haven't.
You can tell I'm not the biggest Olympic fan in the world. I want to see us whip foreigners. I love doing that. Of course,
absolutely. That's not also a great start. I mean, I do have a couple things we could finish. We left you hanging a little bit yesterday. The U.S. women's national team did polish off Zambia in their first group action, 3-0. But the United States Rugby Sevens team did lose in the quarterfinal to Australia 18-0. That's really all we have in terms of actual action. They had some shooting pre-event training today, but it was just training. And then the opening ceremonies. Your first medal is going to be awarded tomorrow, though. You got your first medal ceremonies tomorrow in a couple different sports.
Here you go. I just looked up on NBC. So NBC's Twitter, 16 minutes ago, they posted this video, Team USA arriving. So every nation is on a boat. Oh, we've got to cue T-Pain. I'm on a boat. Like, that would be
I got to find an edited version. I don't really know if I'm having enough time for that real fast. That song can get a little vulgar.
Man, if only we had prepared a little bit, Muse.
Yeah.
It's only if you knew we were going to do an Olympic update today.
Yeah, but I didn't really think about it, I'm going to be honest. I was just like, oh, they're on boats. Cool. It didn't register to me that, oh, man, let's play Lonely Island and T-Pain. Great song, though. Love that song. Yeah.
Poseidon.
Look at me. Whoa.
Ooh. Never thought I'd see the day.
So good.
There was a big boat coming my way. You want to finish it?
No. I don't, actually.
Anyway. All right, so what's tomorrow? What events are tomorrow, Muse? Come on, give me
I'm
something.
glad you asked. So tomorrow, Matt, you have a lot,
almost
man.
like you would have just thought to tell me that.
Tomorrow, you have a mix of badminton, handball, rowing, shooting, volleyball, equestrian, fencing, hockey. Hockey.
All right, now I have another question.
Must be field hockey. Judo. You got a lot, man. Artistic gymnastics. Basketball starts tomorrow, Matt.
I got another question.
Swimming. What's up?
So,
Tennis?
LeBron was the flag bearer, right?
Correct.
But I kind of feel like he gets gypped here because he's not walking the flag into the arena. What do you do? Is he just holding the flag on the boat?
Yes, he's on the front of the boat, yeah. I don't know. I got to watch tonight.
Is that LeBron there in the front corner?
I don't know. That's too many people.
Boy, I really don't like what Paris did here. Boo, Paris, you Parisians.
AFR.
Brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl siding. They do it all over at Relief Windows. They do it better than anyone else. So go to ReliefWindows.com. That's ReliefWindows.com. You can always give them a buzz at 288-8138, 288-8138. I mean, make that call right now. If you've been thinking about windows, they're open. It's 4 o'clock on a Friday. 288-8138 or ReliefWindows.com. Remember, one of the really cool features they have is the 3D modeling. So this is a new technology that they introduced. It's not that 3D modeling is new technology, but for this purpose, they use it, and nobody else really uses this. So you can go to Relief Windows. They'll show you a 3D model of the home, and they'll put exactly like whatever siding, whatever windows, doors that you're looking at, put it on that 3D model so you can see what it looks like as opposed to just looking at like a panel or a little sample color, something like that. You can see what it would actually look like on a 3D model. It's Relief Windows. Give them a buzz, y'all. 288-8138 or ReliefWindows.com.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. So it's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
This is Sports Center.
I'm Kevin Richard. That is now 3 quarterbacks who have received contract extensions this offseason. Jared Goff, Trevor Lawrence, and now Tua Tagovailoa. It is the news that came down just about 2 hours ago from ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter. Tua will sign a 4-year, $212.4 million extension with the Dolphins. 167 of that is guaranteed money. That's $167 million, by the way. His $53.1 million AAV is the third most among quarterbacks. The deal ends up fluid the first 2 days of training camp for Miami as Tua had been a hold-in as he awaited a new deal. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson did not practice today. He's dealing with an illness. Head coach John Harbaugh said he's confident Lamar's going to be back pretty soon. That is just an unpredictable deal. Baseball's trade deadline is heating up. ESPN's Jeff Passan reporting this hour. The Orioles have acquired right-hander starter Zach Eflin from the Tampa Bay Rays for 3 minor leaguers. Eflin is one of the top starters available. Last night, the Mariners got Randy Arozarena from the Rays. Today, Seattle picks up right-handed reliever Yimi Garcia for the Toronto Blue Jays in exchange for outfield prospect Jonathan Clase.
Here's one stat that's super simple to remember. Discover automatically doubles the cash back on your credit card at the end of your first year with Cash Back Match. With Discover, you could turn $150 cash back to $300. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Used to. And Mr. Toby Templey. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Our buddy Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball, he'll be here in 15 minutes. You probably saw the news from Ross Dellinger over at Yahoo that about the scholarship changes. Football going up to 105 scholarships, and baseball is going to go to a head count sport with 34. So what does that mean for college baseball? Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball, will be here in about 15 minutes. Big Ten, wrapping up Big Ten Media Days. Jake Butt, former Michigan tight end, now at the Big Ten Network, good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. Jake, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
Oh, doing great, guys. Doing great. I've had quite the summer. I just got back in Chicago for the first time. I went from my honeymoon to Fox Media Days to Big Ten Media Days. So I've been rolling, man. Now football season's here, so I'm fired up.
Hell yeah, man. What a summer for you, man. Congrats on the nuptials, man.
Thank you.
Hey, so give me a feeling, if you were to give me like the big picture overview of I guess, Big 18 Media Days, like 18 teams there. I mean, what were your biggest takeaways, observations from being there?
And just the brand power in this conference and the strength of the conference, right? I mean, we know what Ohio State and Michigan and Penn State are on any given week, or on any given year. But then you listen to Dan Lanning talk. That guy, for how young he is, he sounds like he's been in coaching for 20 years. I mean, that dude is so impressive. And I say that to say, we know their roster is absolutely loaded this year. It's a national championship roster. But that guy is loaded up. I mean, Oregon's going to be a team to contend year in, year out for as long as he's there. I mean, that's the direction this program's heading. I got the sense from Lincoln Riley as well at USC. I mean, he seems very confident that his defense is going to take a step forward. Not just the defensive coordinator with Danton Lynn, but the entire defensive staff got improved. I expect them to be, much better this year. They certainly can't get much worse. And, with Lincoln Riley, the offense is going to put up 35, 40 points a game. I played for Jed Fish at Washington. He turned around Arizona. That place was nothing when he got there and got him to a 10-win season. So they'll be much improved. So it's the exact same Big Ten. Add in all these new brands that are all hitting their stride. Add in the fact that Matt Rule is entering year 2. We know what happens there. You got Iowa with the new offense. You got Luke Fickell in year 2. The conference is in a really healthy spot, and it's going to be as competitive as it's been this year.
And Fish was an assistant there at Michigan for 2 years while Jake was a tight end. I want to circle back maybe to some perspective from you from your playing days in a second, but I'm glad you brought up USC and you brought up Oregon. We were in Dallas last week for SEC Media Days, and the Texas fatigue was already very real, but they were a giant part of the conversation. And Jake, I think it was mostly just because they were a playoff team a year ago, and there's a lot of anticipation and expectation around them this year, specifically with USC and Oregon. Maybe not as much Washington, UCLA. You tell me if I'm wrong, but did it feel like maybe they, I don't know, stole the day, stole headlines even from an Ohio State or a Penn State, which are established programs in that league?
Probably less USC, more Oregon. I mean, Oregon certainly, and it was spread out well over 3 days. So there were 6 teams a day, and they did a good job of dividing up the big brands. So there was plenty of airway to cover each team. But I think the takeaway from a lot of people out there and a lot of the whispers were how impressive Dan Lanning is once again. I mean, that guy. Nowadays, as a head coach, you have to be a Swiss Army knife. You have to be a great football mind. You have to be great with X's and O's. You have to be a great leader and a great talent identifier, both from a player standpoint and filling out your staff. But you have to be a great fundraiser as well, and that's a whole separate set of skills. And Dan Lanning just checks every box, and he does it effortlessly. He doesn't look like he's straining at all. So I know a lot of the conversation was how impressive he was. And maybe with USC, it was a little bit more polarizing in the sense I certainly think they're going to be much improved. I certainly think they're going to be a team that can compete, if not this year, in the next few years for conference championships. But there's a lot of people that, I know Paul Feinbaum was kind of calling for Lincoln Riley's neck, and he's not alone in that. So USC was a little bit more polarizing in the sense of their conversation.
Jake Butts with us, Big Ten Network. I mentioned I wanted to go back to your playing days. I'm so curious about this league because of the travel, and I know everybody's talking about it, Jake, but have you given any thought to what that would have been like for a school? Like yesterday we were talking about UCLA, to go from Los Angeles to play Penn State, back home to play Minnesota, then going to Rutgers. I mean, that's 4 or 5 cross-country trips in a 3-week span. Like, what would that be like for you as a player?
It's worth a conversation. It's a fair question. It's a good question. But I know for me as a player, at least on the good teams I was on, I don't think we would have wasted much time talking about it. Because I think at the end of the day, we would have focused on, just playing winning football. And if we had a good team, we'd feel up for that challenge. And I also think with football, I think it's going to matter more for some of the other sports. But with football, it's one game a week, and it's such an adrenaline-driven sport that I can never tell you I took a snap or entered a stadium where I felt tired or lethargic. There's just so much adrenaline when you're playing in front of 80,000, 100,000 fans, and you're playing with the conference titles and national titles and playoff berths on the line. So I think the players will be able to adjust. And maybe the conversation should be on the coaching at this point, because the coaches are going to have to adjust at the college level. I think about the difference between the NFL and college. NFL, you only get 16 padded practices or whatever it is. So you can't bang. You naturally are fresher or as fresh as you can be. But a lot of college coaches, they like to go full pads on Tuesday, Wednesday. Some of them even go full pads on a Sunday after a game, They want to bang. It's going to be on these coaches now where, some of that's required for younger kids that need the reps to develop, but you have to toe that line between developing your team and also understanding this is a really tough schedule with a lot of travel. How do we keep our guys fresh?
Jake Butt for a couple more minutes with us here on Twitter at JBooty88 if you want to give him a follow. Love the handle, by the way.
Thank you.
I incidentally, so there was a quarterback at LSU years ago. You may not remember it. His name was Josh Booty. And one day I was searching on Instagram for Josh Booty, and I saw Jay Booty pop up. I followed you, not even realizing that it was you. So you've had a follow for a while. Who in the Big Ten are we not talking about that we should be talking about?
You just take a second with me here. I'm going to say a team that Rutgers, and it's Greg Schiano, and this is for a few reasons. For some reason, Rutgers has become the punching bag of the Big Ten. They're just the low-hanging fruit that people like to mention when they talk about average football. But Greg Schiano's a damn good coach. And when you really look at the tape, he's consistently put out quality defenses. The run game's always been there. He's been plagued by absolutely horrendous quarterback play. And I think last year was a pretty solid, sound, certainly successful season for Rutgers. And then you come back this year, and he calls Rutgers a developmental program, meaning he's trying to develop these recruits. He doesn't have 5 stars that can play right away, but the more senior he has of a team, the better they'll fare. His entire 2 deep is loaded with seniors and experience. They're one of the more veteran teams in the Big Ten. And then you say this: they were plagued by being in the Big Ten East, having to play Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, and even Michigan State when they were good every single year. You look at their schedule, and they avoid all of those teams. So it's this marriage of an experienced team with veteran leadership. They return the Big Ten's leading rusher in Kyle Monungai, loaded on defense. And all of a sudden, you remove the challenges of having to play those big brands of Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. The schedule is extremely favorable. This is a team that can, be 7-0 or 8-1 late in the season. And at that point, who knows what happens when you have a confident, healthy football team. So watch out for Rutgers this year. They can make a run late in the season.
Greg Schiano got Rutgers up to number 2 in the country in 2006. I believe it.
There you go.
If you tell me,
we forget that though. We really forget that though. He is a damn good football coach. Seriously.
I don't forget that, man. You get Rutgers to number 2 in the country. You have my respect and my attention.
Right.
It didn't work out for him in the NFL, but Greg Schiano is a very good college football coach. There's no doubt about that. Jake Butt, man, I appreciate a couple of minutes. Thanks for the time. Hopefully we can do this again sometime down the line. LSU's got 2 Big Ten opponents they play, playing both the LA schools. Hopefully we can do it sometime down the road.
Anytime. You do radio with my guy T-Bob, right?
Oh, don't tell me that's your guy. Why would you say that? We were doing so good, Jake. Like, this was going so well. So
you guys
well
always
until
have
you
some
went
good clips.
there.
I think I follow you, too, and I see your clips, so it's good to finally be on here with you guys, and happy to join anytime.
I'm not surprised at all that you see clips of me yelling with flames on the screen and all that sort of stuff. That's part. I guess
it's entertaining.
It's part and parcul. Okay, Jake, we appreciate it, man. All the best, bud. Be well.
All right, take care.
Man.
Bye.
Take care. That's Jake Butt, former Michigan tight end. Good stuff, man. I appreciate that. Obviously, playing day's done, and now working with the Big Ten Network. Good resource there, especially with LSU playing both USC and UCLA, a couple of Big Ten schools. There's a lot of ground I still wanted to cover with Jake, so we'll have to circle back and do that again. I wanted to get his thoughts on how UCLA did. I mean, we talked a lot, obviously, about Sean Foster and the sort of the missteps he had in his opening statement, what that may mean for the both Los Angeles schools, but we'll have a chance. We'll get Jake back at some point down the line. Okay, let me knock out a quick break. Come back. Kendall Rogers is going to jump aboard with us. The gigantic story around college baseball is the scholarship changes. No longer an equivalency sport. Next year, they'll move to 34 scholarships in baseball, and everyone will be on full scholarship. Everyone's asked, well, what does this mean for rosters? What does this mean for my favorite program? We'll ask Kendall Rogers that next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery, 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Seagan near Airline, LA 16 in Dedham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Buy local, shop local over at Clegg's Nursery. Never fails, man, especially when we get to this time of year. It's summer and people are spending time outside. You know, it's barbecues, it's pool, it's whatever it may be out in the backyard. And you end up getting mosquitoes. And people always message me and say, Scone, what's the mosquito thing you talk about? Well, go to Clegg's. You'll see it. They have it in a big, those big, cardboard end caps. It's the Aeon mosquito barrier. It takes care of mosquitoes 90 days at a time. I'm telling you, this I'm not exaggerating. We don't have any other mosquito abatement products. Like, we don't spray or any of that sort of stuff. I go to Clegg's and I buy the Aeon mosquito barrier. I fill it up with water, shake it up, put it on the property line, and we don't have mosquitoes for 90 days at a time. And the thing's like $25. So it's like 30. It's right there. It's incredible. Go find it today at Clegg's Nursery.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off F-150. $10,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
The best kept.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
All right, linking up with Kendall Rogers. Of course, the Bayou Splash going on over at LSU today. Incredible list. I mean, 10 double-digit top 100 prospects, a handful of 5-star prospects over at the Bayou Splash as well. You got guys on campus who certainly you're looking to add to this class. Jamie French, the 5-star wide receiver, uncommitted tweeted a photo of himself in the LSU uniform in the photo op. Back in the boot was the tweet that he included. So a great opportunity for Brian Kelly and the staff, man, this weekend. We've talked a lot about this class as of right now and sort of the quality over quantity. Well, the quantity is building now that they're at 18 commitments. And when you look at the quality they continue to target, that number continues to grow. And so you're able to say both quality and quantity, which is when you start to look at something that could potentially be like the number one class in America if they're able to get there. So obviously, as we get more updates here from the Bayou Splash, we'll keep you posted as we know more. But great opportunity for Brian Kelly and the staff with the Bayou Splash this weekend. All right, it's after further review. We are trying to hook up with Kendall Rogers. We'll see if we can get him. In the meantime, Ross Jackson will be with us to start hour number 2. Saints training camp day 3 was today. Dennis Allen was asked after 3 days what has stood out so far on both sides of the ball, both offensively and defensively. Here's what he said.
I think the one thing defensively that, has been encouraging is we've gotten our hands on the football a significant amount of times. We've made some plays, taking the ball away, which has been impressive. And then look, offensively, I think there's been, throughout the course of the last 3 days, I think there's been some explosive plays down the field, which has been encouraging to see.
Obviously the explosive plays downfield, that's going to start with the wide receivers. And man, everybody thinks this wide receiver group has the potential to be really, really good. Are we good? Okay. Don't worry about it. Just let's move on. We'll get Kendall if we can get Kendall. Let's move on. Maybe the most important thing that happened on Friday, and I don't even know how to address this other than to say it's a really scary situation, but Jake Haener disclosed that he's got skin cancer. So he's been wearing a patch on his face here in the early 3 days of camp, and he was asked about why he was wearing the patch. Here's what he said.
I actually have a rare form of skin cancer. So for my age, it's kind of rare that it pops up like that. So I'm trying to get that evaluated with our training staff. I have a consultation with doctors August 1st on our off day to try to figure out how long I can wait because I have to get a different procedure done on my face. So we're just kind of trying to take the necessary steps in order to see how long I can wait till I have to get that procedure done.
Okay. The good news is Haener said that the skin cancer is not life-threatening. And as far as the timeline, does he put it off? Does he continue to compete for the backup job? I mean, obviously there are things that are just dramatically more significant than football, like dealing with a rare form of skin cancer. So sincere best wishes and prayers there to Jake Haener as he battles that. But it hasn't limited him as of now. I mean, this is the second year in a row now when the Saints have had a situation with a player dealing with cancer. Of course, a year ago it was Foster Moreau, who healed and was able to play last season for the Saints, and now Jake Haener. So we'll continue to follow that as we move through. All right, Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball, good enough to join us now. Hey, man, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Doing really well, man. A lot of people asked when the new scholarship news broke and that baseball was going to be a head count sport with 34. What does this mean, man? What does it mean for LSU? What does it mean for whoever my favorite team is? When you saw the news, what was your first reaction?
I was shocked. I mean, I think you look back, was it 3 years ago the NCAA started the transformation committee right after COVID? And at the time, Greg Sankey had mentioned the possibility of going to 18 scholarships. And I remember at the time, I was thinking well, man, there's no, that sounds awesome, but there's zero shot we're ever going to 18. And now, 2 years later, to be at 34 potential full scholarships is pretty incredible. Mm. So, there are plenty of negatives to some of these things that are going on, but for the sport of college baseball to go from 11-7 to 34, it's a pretty historic day, and it's a day that I know that Jay Johnson and guys like that who let's be honest, this guy's stressed out every single day over how to spread out $11.7. life gets a little easier because if you're Jay Johnson, you're now going to a kid and going, hey, we've got 34 full rides. Let's go to LSU. Like, your sales pitch is a little different.
Kendall, I've been saying it's fundamentally absurd that someone like Dylan Cruz ever came to college baseball and wasn't on a full scholarship. Like, it's just so stupid to say
He paid money to play college baseball.
Right, yes. It's like NIL was a thing by the game. But yes, understand how fundamentally absurd that is. Now, what do you think? So there's that component of it, but there's also the other side for programs that can't afford 34 scholarships. So what do you think, just your opinion, is the most consequential outcome of 34 scholarships?
So here's the thing that's really interesting, and it's kind of twofold. Number one, scholarship-wise, one important clarifier. I was talking to Dellinger. Dellinger and I kind of talked a lot about this because just the ramifications of baseball and his history covering LSU and Mississippi State. And the thing that's really interesting is that, you can have 18 fulls and actually spread that over 34 players. So while LSU and while, Texas, et cetera, can go, hey, we're going to give 34 full rides, a mid-major can say, hey, we've only got 20 scholarships, but we have the flexibility to span that over, 34 players. So what you can do if you're a mid-major, maybe you give 12 full rides and you take the other 8 scholarships if you're at 20, and you kind of spread those out with the other players. So twofold. A, that really helps mid-majors because I was talking to some mid-major coaches who were like, oh, that's a game changer. If we could spread it out, that's a total game changer if we can get to 20 and 22. The other thing is that's really interesting is with the biggest storyline, honestly, other than this, is the roster limit being 34 from 40. Because, if you're Jay Johnson, you're Chris Lemonis, you're taking 6 players off your full roster. In the SEC, that's 96 players. And I think in the ACC Big 12, it'd be 84 players. So that is 84 players in the Big 12 that have to go somewhere else. It's 84 players in the ACC that have to go somewhere else. That's 96 out of the SEC that have to go somewhere else. Well, guess who that benefits? It really benefits Southern Miss, Troy, the Raging Cajuns, La Tech, et cetera. You get my point here. So if those kids have to find somewhere else to go, guess what that does? That just increases the talent pool at the mid-major level. So there is a serious trickle-down effect here where every single level of college baseball is going to get better.
So that's why I'm so glad we're having this conversation, Kendall, because my thought immediately was when I heard this, I'm like, man, a school like, let's say, Louisiana Tech, like they probably can't afford 34 full baseball scholarships. So what happens to them if they can't? Well, it feels like this would be a net positive for them, even if they can't afford the 34 scholarships. What about at the major level, Kendall? What do you think that does to rosters? And it wasn't always 40, right? I mean, the 40 was an inflated number because of COVID, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
So
it went from 35 to 40. So coaches have experience in the last 5-6 years of dealing with a 35-man roster. You're essentially just taking one roster spot away. So, I mean, the biggest thing is what it's going to do, and this is going to be, again, another very important clarifier, they have not said when you have to set that roster. So whether it's A&M, whether it's LSU, whether it's Arkansas, if you look at their fall roster, you go to the box in the fall, and, the roster sheet takes up a sheet and a half of paper, and rightfully so, because you have a lot of walk-ons. Well, now, what I'm hearing is that what the NCAA is going to do is make it where you have to declare your 34-man roster going into the fall. So there will be no more walk-ons at practice. There will not be, 47 guys. I think one year Arkansas had 49 guys on their fall roster. They would have to find a way to trim 15 names off that list going into the fall. So that is a game changer because what it does, I was talking to Roland Fanning from Austin Peay, one of the rising mid-majors. He said what it's going to do is it's really going to tell you which coaches are A, doing the best evaluation job, and B, which coaches can actually coach, because your margin for error with that few roster spots is very, very small.
Why would the NCAA want rosters declared at the start of before fall ball?
Well, it has to do with your academic stuff. At the end of the day, I know at LSU and the SEC and these other conferences, we all think of baseball as a business, but the NCAA at the end of the day thinks of it from an academic standpoint. And the thing that's really interesting to me is football, from what I'm being told, is going to be allowed to have a larger roster for fall camp. But once the actual fall semester begins, once school's in session, they will only be able to have the number that's allowed. So the question here is, everything is guided by lawsuit now. So the question is, if football is allowed that, do you have a baseball parent go, hey, why is football allowed to do that? Well, I'm suing you guys because you're not allowing baseball to do the same thing. So I think it's one of those things that at the start, if they do it, like they'll cap it at 34 in the fall. But all it takes is one person with money to go, hey, I'm suing you guys because that's one less opportunity for my kid. And don't be surprised if the NCAA does a little switcheroo on that one too.
Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball. Is there a negative that you see to the 34-man, 34 scholarship news for baseball?
I really don't see a negative. I mean, here's the thing. At the beginning of it, whenever people did not think that you could spread out 22 scholarships over 34 players, I think anybody with a brain would say, the difference between the haves and the have-nots is only going to get larger. But I think now, if I'm a kid that, wants immediate playing time, and I can go to Law Tech and get 75 to 80% of my schooling paid for, and I'm paying for 20%. I mean, that's not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things. So I really think being able to spread it apart, helps the mid-majors a lot. And so, again, I think college baseball is a growing brand. Obviously, we saw the ratings with Paul and Dylan and that team a couple of years ago in Omaha. The ratings this year in the College World Series were just amazing. And so this sport is getting more scholarships at precisely the right time. And guess what it means? For LSU, it means that, Jay Johnson now, he's already gotten, a couple of premier, high school prospects to go to school already. Now, after Jay, you're not only offering these kids a full ride, but then you have Bayou Traditions getting involved, and you're giving them NIL on top of that. So I think what you're going to see is these kids that are pulling out of the draft to go to LSU. You're only going to see that increase of frequency in the years ahead.
Yeah, might end up with even more talent in college baseball. It's hard to see the negative, man. I always feel like there's always going to be some eggs that are broken here along the way, but overall, especially...
Yeah, I mean, the argument would be, Matt, the argument would be that some programs are going to cut baseball. From what I'm hearing is that the mid-majors, and I thought Brent Jones and Troy put this perfectly in my column last week, is that at the mid-major level, baseball and softball are two of the few sports where they can compete and defeat the power conference teams. And if it's a situation, they're going to continue funding sports like that. What I think is going to be hurt is what I'm hearing is men's track, men's swimming, men's soccer at schools that have soccer, men's gymnastics, sports like that. I would see those programs more than likely being cut at a lot of places.
By the way, D1 Baseball put out their top 100 draft prospects for next year. There's 7 LSU Tigers on it. I think Jay might be cooking with what's the expression? Cooking with grease, cooking with oil. What's the expression? Do you know?
Well, it's like don't let Russell cook. I guess don't let Jay cook.
Yeah, don't let Jay, whatever it may be. Looks like
they're going to be good, man. Well, the problem is LSU is going to be really good. But I did an early top 10 the other day, and I had 6 of the top 10 were in the SEC. So have fun.
Par for the course, man. We appreciate it as always. Thanks, man.
You got it, brother. Have a good weekend.
You do the same. Bro. That's Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Hitting the road for these final few weeks of summer. Make sure you bring your vehicle to Shaw Bills. You need those tires rotated. You need that oil change. The brakes are squeaking. Check engine lights on. Shaw Bills can take care of all of that for you. And, of course, they'll sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices. Nobody does it better than Shaw Bills. And the best part about Shaw Bills, they treat you like family. So, yep, they're going to get you in there by selling you the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible, but they keep you coming back year after year after year because they treat you like family. And when people treat you great and they do fantastic work at a fair price and they're friendly, you want to keep going back. You want to tell people about the experience you had. It's why I, for years, have sat here and used this big megaphone to yell through and tell you how great Shaw Bills is, and it's why so many of you continue to go and sing their praises as well. So go to ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. All right, it's After Further Review. Ross Jackson, 30 minutes from right now, our Saints camp report. LSU pitcher DJ Primeaux in about 45 minutes. When we come back, though, I'd started to move into this when we were able to connect with Kendall at at the middle of that segment. LSU's offered another 5-star receiver for the class of 2025. Want to talk about the Bayou Splash, the visitor list, all that stuff coming up here on AFR.
AFR.
Man, was having a conversation with Terrio yesterday, and a lot of you know that Terrio and I are partnered with Richard Tilley and Joe Morales and Trent Davis on Parish Construction and Roofing. Well, Ryan's got his hands in a lot of different companies, and one of them is T3, and they do commercial and industrial projects, these large-scale projects, and they've started to scale very quickly and needed to rapidly hire a workforce. And so Ryan literally called me yesterday from Florida and said, hey, man, I need you to connect me with the guys at Glow Resources. We need to hire quickly. I said, look, they're your people. Glow, it doesn't matter if you're hiring here in Baton Rouge, you're a Baton Rouge company hiring for jobs around the country or the world, or you're at one of their other offices from Houston or Dallas or Miami or any of these other places. Glow Resources helps companies all over the world find the right people for jobs all over the world. It's online at glowresources.com. GLO, glowresources.com. Complete employer solutions, glowresources.com.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Bayou Splash going on over at LSU. Man, the visitor list is long and distinguished, double-digit top 100 prospects, and a handful of five-star prospects as well. And all this happening while LSU has extended an offer to another 5-star receiver. It's Jerome Miles. He's out of the state of Utah. 6'3", 215. In the composite, he's a 4-star, the number 58 overall player in the country, the number 1 player in the state of Utah. But 24/7 has him rated as a 5-star, the number 30 overall player. ESPN has him as the number 26 overall player. So you're talking about a guy that, depending on which scouting service you look at, is as high as number 26 in the country at any position and is a 5-star. Well, Utah is thought to be the favorite to land the in-state prospect. Ole Miss has taken their swing at him as well. Texas A&M, Michigan, a lot of big-time schools are there. Well, LSU has jumped into the mix, and you don't typically get into the mix recruiting a guy from Utah this seemingly late in the process if you don't feel like you at least have a chance to get him. So I don't know, what's going to happen here. I can't tell you that I have some great sense of what's going to go on, but what I do know is this. LSU has taken some really, really big swings in this recruiting class at receiver and at cornerback. I mean, like, the best ones in the country. Just if you go look at the on-3 composite top receivers in the country, number 1 receiver is DeCorian Moore. LSU had him committed. He's now obviously flipped to Oregon. The number 3 receiver is Khalil Lockett. LSU has had Khalil Lockett on campus. They're a finalist for him. He's thought to be a Texas lean, but we'll see. The number 4 receiver in the country is Jamie French. LSU's got Jamie French. He's a 5-star. Got Jamie French on campus this weekend. Derek Meadows, the number 7 receiver in the country. He's committed. Jerome Miles is who we just talked about, the number 10 receiver in the country. LSU's offered him. LSU is there right down to the nitty-gritty for C.J. Wiley, who's the number 14 receiver in the country. The number 20 receiver in the country is Teron Francis, and that's LSU's got him committed. So, from Carr in New Orleans. I mean, that's 5 of the top. I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 7 of the top 20 in the country. You've got 2 of them committed. You had the number 1 receiver committed at one point. I mean, they are being really ambitious with this class. And I keep wondering, how many receivers are they going to take in this class? And it would stand to reason that you're going to have to replenish this class, the receiver position in this draft, in this recruiting class, because of Kyron Lacy and Chris Hilton and C.J. Daniels and Xavier Thomas all likely gone after this season. And then what if you have other transfers, guys transfer out of the program? Does Aaron Anderson play a 5th year of college? I don't know. But the point being, man, a 4th year of college. I don't know. Your numbers, you have to be looking at that board going, you're going to be really thin next year. So you've got to add numbers clearly at the high school ranks, but you're going to supplement the portal as well. You're going to need numbers at receiver. So they're taking some big-time swings here at the receiver position in this class, and it's amazing that they're doing it not just in Louisiana. I mean, DeCorian Moore, looking at DeCorian Moore out of Texas, Khalil Lockett out of Texas, Jamie French out of Florida, Derek Meadows out of Nevada, Jerome Miles out of Utah, C.J. Wiley's in Georgia. You see my point? Like, they've cast a wide net for the biggest name receivers. And I say this all the time, y'all. Like, I am not cool with LSU recruiting nationally unless it's a player worth getting on a plane to go see. You recruit Louisiana, you recruit East Texas, you cherry pick out of Florida and Georgia. I mean, you stay to your base where that's been really good to you. It's only worth investing the resources to go recruit someone out of the state if it's worth going to, if you can't find that player somewhere else, like Bryce Underwood. You can't find a quarterback like Bryce Underwood in Louisiana. He's the number 1 player in the country. You go recruit him. You're not going to find DJ Pickett in Louisiana this year. He's the number 1 cornerback in America. You go to Florida and recruit him. You want to get on a plane to go recruit a 5-star receiver out of Las Vegas and Derek Meadows? Cool. But you've seen LSU do that a lot. I mean, Bryce Underwood is the number 1 player in Michigan. DJ Pickett's the number 1 player in Florida. Derek Meadows is the number 1 player in Nevada. Damian Shanklin's the number 1 player in Indiana. Carius Kern's the number 1 player in Arkansas. Of course, Harlan Berry is the number 1 player in Louisiana. I mean, and now you're going after a guy in Jerome Miles, who's the number one player in Utah. So you're casting a wider net in this class than I would typically like to see LSU do, but it happens to be one of those years where you kind of have to go outside of Louisiana to look for big-time prospects. Now, 2026, that's very different. When you look at the 2026 class, I mean, you were looking at a bumper crop in this state that we've talked about a bunch. And you've got some of those guys on campus already, including Jakeem Stewart, who's the number one player in the country, number one defensive lineman in the country. And in most services, 3 of the 4 services have him as the number one overall player in the country. But you start to look at what 2025 looks like, and I know we've gone through this, or 2026, we've gone through this a bunch already. Jakeem Stewart out of St. Aug, the number 3 player. Lamar Brown out of U-High, the number 5 player in the country. I mean, you don't have to go too far to find a bunch of dudes from this state that are highly regarded. Blaine Bradford, the number 15 player in the country from Catholic, right down the road. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just one of those years where you're going to target Louisiana in 2026, and you're going to build a class that is one of the best in the country with guys that are within an hour of your campus. So it's interesting year to year how it's going to vary, but we always talk about it. I mean, you've got to make sure that that Louisiana is your core, is your base, and you're doing that. But when you can go out of the state and get number one players in their respective state, 5-star guys, of course you go do that. And that's what they're doing in 25. But 26, man, Bryson Martinez, the number 40 overall prospect in the country. Aiden Hall, the number 47 overall prospect in the country. Jabari Mack, number 77. I mean, that's 6 guys in the top 77 in the country, all from within an hour of Baton Rouge. I mean, it's just unbelievable what 2026 looks like. You put a fence around Louisiana for 2026 and couple it with what you're already doing in 2025, which looks really special. You have the makings of another national championship roster. All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com. I have a Parish shirt on today. Had a great meeting this morning. We have Friday staff meetings over at Parish Construction and Roofing. And, man, so fired up to tell you about some of the stuff we have coming down. Our commercial division is growing by the day. Actually, super excited to announce a hire for our new commercial roofing division manager, who plucked out of the state of Florida, as a matter of fact. So, man, we are growing and excited about that. Told you I had a call yesterday from the general manager of a hotel in Baton Rouge who they were having roof issues. They called us. So, listen, yes, obviously, if you have a single-family home or residential issue where you need a roof repair, roof replacement, we can absolutely help. I mean, that's the core of what we do. But, man, no matter how large your commercial or industrial roofing job is, we'd love to help. There's a video on our social media right now of our crews installing a silicone coating product we talk about over at the Dunham School. And there's a heat index test that they do. So they measure the temperature of the roof before the coating and after. That roof was 150 degrees before that coating. It was down to 96 degrees on the roof after the coating. So you want to talk about lowering your energy costs as well. Think about that for a large scale building. These industrial warehouses, you want to lower the temperature for the people and whatever you're storing in those warehouses. Man, give us a shout. Let us talk to you about our silicone coating product. Parish Construction and Roofing. Go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. You can fill out the form right there on the homepage. Go to parishbuilt.com, form right there on the homepage. Fill it out. We'll be in touch. Parish Construction and Roofing. Do business with someone you know. Parishbuilt.com. All right, Muse will have Tigers and the Pros to wrap up hour number 2. Ross Jackson with our Saints report in 13 minutes from right now, and LSU pitcher DJ Primeaux also in hour number 3. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Hey, y'all, it's a Friday. Great opportunity to get by and see our friends over at the Renaissance Hotel. There's always something going on over at Tallulah. I had a great text from a listener on the text line last week. She and her husband had an anniversary. They went over to Tallulah, said we took your recommendation. It was excellent. They had the swordfish and the pork chop. The pork chop is incredible. I couldn't recommend it highly enough if you get on by and see our friends over at Tallulah inside the Renaissance Hotel. Restaurant Week is going on as well. And, y'all, tonight is the next exclusive spirit tasting evenings at the Renaissance. As a matter of fact, starting in an hour and 13 minutes from right now with our friends from Noel Family Distillery. Join Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel for an extraordinary evening of flavors. By the way, the tasting is complimentary. So just go on by the Renaissance, Tallulah inside the Renaissance. You can't miss it. Big open air, indoor, outdoor flow. It's an awesome place to be. And tonight, you get some exclusive spirit tasting with Noel Distillery tonight at the Renaissance Hotel.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. Big shout out to our friends over at Don Juan Cigar Bar, getting closer to whiskey and wine on those football Saturdays. Going to be a lot of fun. If you've never come and join us, make plans to be there for one of the LSU game days or all of the LSU game days this year, or get on by this weekend. Stock your stash over at Don Juan Cigar Bar. Great selection, awesome people, friendly staff right there in town center. If you're looking at the Whole Foods, look to the right. You'll see Don Juan right there. All right, Musso, Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, let's start with Josh Smith from last night. A little bit of a quieter night for Smith than what we've been used to, but still productive. 1 for 3 with a single, also drew a walk. The Rangers got themselves a W. Let's move to minor league baseball. We will start in single A, and we'll start with Riley Cooper. So Riley Cooper's been having a great year with Delmarva. The problem is he keeps pitching on days when we're not here. Okay, we finally got him, though. Pitched last night, got the start, as a matter of fact. 3 2/3, just a run given up, and 1 strikeout. However, he took the loss because, as teams do for former LSU pitchers who start, they don't score any runs. His team scored 1 run, so Riley Cooper now 4-2. But how about this? A 2.67 ERA. Might be time to give Riley a little bump up to a high A ball. there if
guy gets out.
If
Look
the
at
Orioles,
my guy here. Look at that. I don't know what this video is. I don't know when that is. But there he is. Look at that uni too.
So good.
I don't know.
Yeah, miss Riley Cooper. Dylan Cruz last night, really solid outing for him in the leadoff spot for the Rochester Red Wings. 2 for 4 for Dylan. Both of those 2 were doubles. Now up to 7 on the year. And excuse me.
I mean, he crushed that one.
Yeah, I mean,
that wasn't a double. That was a CNI single.
That was the CNI single. Or did he stretch it? He stretched it.
He did. Wow, look at that.
Yeah, because, 2 for 4, 2 doubles, he would have had to.
And you didn't go look this up?
And a walk
Why
for
didn't
Cruz.
you look this up? I just pulled it up.
What?
Why didn't you look that up?
There we go. There's the double. There's the second one right there. Number 2 for Dylan Cruz. Cam Sanders got a call up. He's back in AAA. Love to see that. 2 innings
Call
in a
him up,
run.
you losers.
I agree.
You cowards.
Yeah, Hunt and Beck complain about the Cubs every day when we walk in here. You know what can help?
They do.
Cam Sanders.
I know.
He's 2 innings, run, 3 Ks. Great outing for Cam last night. That's Tigers in the pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. You know where to find them with 9 locations in all. 2 in Baton Rouge, Corporate Boulevard in Bocage, actually not far from Don Juan. Corporate Boulevard, and then obviously in the Mall of Louisiana as well. New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport. You will always get beautiful diamonds from Lee Michaels. And gents, maybe it's time to upgrade. Have an anniversary coming up. Take the diamond you got her when you got engaged and upgrade it to a newer, beautiful diamond from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com. You can use the trade-in value of your existing diamond for a new, maybe bigger diamond. Thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Remember earlier this week, our buddy Chris Phillips was on the show from SEC Unfiltered, and he did tease that he'd have his LSU season predictions up. Well, he's got them out. He tagged me in the tweet, I guess, because he knew I'd talk about it, which is why I did. He's got LSU going 10-2, as he said, starting 8-0, and then back-to-back losses to Bama and Florida before beating Vandy and Oklahoma to wrap up the season. So the Florida one, I think, the week after Bama makes it tough. That is a tough spot to go on the road to Gainesville. I just think by that point, Florida will have been completely unraveled. But we'll see how the season goes. All right, it's After Further Review, hour number 3, staring straight in the face. Don't you move.
AFR.
Love telling you about Evermore. Matter of fact, well, I need another bottle of Evermore because this is empty. Evermore.com, Evermore.com. I told you I drink it. It's an empty bottle now. Evermore.com. I really, really love, man. I'm getting so many of you that will post on Twitter or Facebook. You're shooting me pictures. A gentleman today on my text line sent me a message. Bought Evermore over at Rouse's somewhere west of here. I'm telling you, man, just try it. Just try it. Bypass on the crinkly water bottle from Texas. Bypass on the one from the tropical island that's shaped like a rectangle just because you think you're drinking tropical water. It's Evermore. It's natural artesian water. It is Mother Nature's masterpiece. It's from a natural artesian well. If you want a rare alkaline source, you want Evermore. Evermore.com, Evermore.com. Evermore, sponsoring Cloth and Nuss, the LSU sand volleyball team, competing in the Olympics. Good enough for Olympians. It's good enough for you and me as well. It's Evermore.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is Sports Center.
Kevin Richard, Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa is signing a 4-year, $212.4 million contract extension with $167 million in guaranteed money. This according to ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter. Tua was entering the final year of his rookie contract. He had been hauled-in during the first couple of days of training camp. The $53.1 million AAV is the third highest in the league. According to ESPN's Jeff Hassan, the Baltimore Orioles have acquired right-handed starter Zach Eflin from the Tampa Bay Rays for 3 minor leaguers. Seattle picks up right-handed reliever Yimi Garcia from the Blue Jays in exchange for prospect Jonathan Clase. The Red Sox get left-hander James Paxton from the Dodgers. Red Sox and Yankees in an hour from now on ESPN Plus in the first of 3 from Fenway Park. The Olympic cauldron has been lit and the Parish Summer Games can begin. The opening ceremony is taking place today. Athletes parading down the Seine River through the pouring rain and then a very long torch run that hit virtually every landmark in Parish before finally arriving at the cauldron, which was then lifted into the sky. The ceremonies were capped off by the return of Celine Dion.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Commercial Insurance. It flexes to fit your business's needs. From quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options, Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Used to. And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. LSU pitcher DJ Primeaux here in about 15 minutes from right now, tearing it up in the Cape. It's a left-handed arm Tigers are going to be counting on next year, so we'll catch up with DJ here in a few minutes. Ross Jackson out in Irvine for as long as the Saints are, and good enough to join us every day here to start Hour 3 to give us Saints camp report. How are you, man?
Hey, buddy. Doing great, man. How are you?
Doing really well. Maybe better than Dennis Allen. 3 straight days they've had to deal with injuries now. Today, Marshon Lattimore left with the hip flexor. Did you see it? What can you tell us?
Yeah, so he participated through stretch, walkthroughs, things like that. Then he was out for 7-on-7s. And then at one point he left with a trainer, kind of walking off with the trainer, kind of doing a little bit of gesturing, things like that. He walked up under his own power. It wasn't like he was helped off or anything like that. But then we were given the update after practice from Dennis Allen that he called it a little bit of a hip flexor injury. So I don't know if that is to indicate that it is not a major concern when you use a phrase like a little bit of an injury. But in any case, it doesn't seem like it's expected to be a big deal. But obviously with, Marshon Lattimore's having dealt with injury over the course of the past couple of years, it's going to be looked at a little bit more critically in terms of us wondering what exactly is going on.
When he has been out there, I know it's 2 days, small sample size. Have you noticed anything with Lattimore? Like, how's he running around? How's he looking so far?
Yeah, he's looked great. And he's been, he's had a couple of moments during, they ran these kind of one-on-one drills between wide receivers and corners, but without having thrown the football. And on a couple of those, he won. On a couple of those, he lost. Anything like that is typically pretty weighted towards the wide receivers. So nothing out of the ordinary there. But he's looked good in terms of communication. He looked good in terms of being where he needs to be. He looks dedicated, driven, communicating with the other guys, all these other things. So it's been all positive so far. Really, this is the first thing that we've seen when it comes to Lattimore that makes it kind of feel like, there might be something up here. But again, it's injury related, not necessarily, buy-in related.
The other thing maybe today that felt kind of significant just outside looking in was we saw the offensive line sort of shuffle for the first time. And Ross, we talked about it here. So you being there, maybe have a different read, just tell me. But Dennis Allen said they would start looking at other guys when other guys played well enough to earn reps with the ones. Well, today it looks like we finally started to see some rotation there at right tackle and at left guard. What's your read? Is there anything really to read into with them shuffling those positions here in day 3?
Yeah, I think we're maybe starting to get a little bit of a glimpse of it, but let's see what it kind of looks like going into the next few practices, because if those rotations begin to be a little bit heavier and then we see guys like Trevor Penning not being over at right tackle, then maybe it starts to become a little bit more indicative. Then we just have to figure out, is it because he's sewn up the spot or if it's because they're wanting to look at other options there. And so we kind of have to wait to see what it looks like beyond just the first practice where that shuffling is happening. But if it's going to happen anywhere, it feels like right tackle and left guard are going to be the spots to do it, because those are going to be some of the ones where you're looking at real competition that's happening. It feels like Taliesin Long is going to be a starter, right? It's going to either be a left tackle or right tackle or whatever, but it feels very much like he is solidified in terms of a guy they want to get out on the field. And when you spend a first-round pick on a player, much like Penning, you'd like for him to be out there. So with center and right guard kind of being sewn up, those other two spots are going to be the big ones that will continue to rotate. So it's going to be interesting to see maybe who returns to right tackle, who returns to left guard at the beginning as they begin to now start to look at some of the other players that can be there. And then the next piece of it will be, do we see some of these other guys start to fall back into second, third team reps, and what that might be indicative of.
Any observations whatsoever about Fuanga so far?
Just looks comfortable. He's a big dude. He's quick. I think there was maybe one rep that I caught today that he caught my eye because of Cam Jordan kind of beating him around the edge, or Carl Granderson beating him around the edge. But outside of that, he just seemed really, really comfortable and continues to be a guy that gets to second, third levels, moves very quickly off the ball in the run game, which, remember, is going to be just as important as the pass protection side of all this, because everything about this offense is going to be predicated on its run game. And so in order for any of it to be successful, the run game has to be successful. In order for that to be successful, Taliesin Long is going to have to be. And so him in that run game just seems so comfortable. It's very akin to what he did during his time over at Oregon State. I think one of the reasons why he seemed like such a natural fit for this team from the very beginning. And so far, he's been able to make good on that.
Ross Jackson locked on Saints. He's on Twitter at Ross Jackson Nola out there in Irvine with the Saints. Day 3 wrapping up. Dennis Allen also spent some time talking about the defensive ends, and I'd kind of like to take these one at a time to talk about it. I want to start with Isaiah Foskey, because Dennis Allen's comment after was that the arrow was kind of pointing up. Why?
I think it's been his forgive the colloquialism, but I think it's just been his grind, if I'm being real. Like, a lot of it has been that he has been working his tail off over the course of the offseason. And look, he's also going into his second year of the system, right? So he's inherently a little bit more comfortable with it now than he was last year, his rookie season. And so over the offseason, he spent some time, during pass rushing camps and things like that, working with Cam Jordan. My understanding is that he was also working with Aaron Donald's pass rush coach, or defensive line coach. And so he was working on training and all that stuff with some of the guys, some of the best trainers that have trained some of the best guys in the NFL, and some of the best guys, and working directly with some of the best guys in the NFL himself. So I think that has allowed him maybe unlock a little bit more in terms of what his pass rush repertoire looks like, how to string together moves, things like that, and maybe how to understand opponent leverage a little bit. Seems a little bit more comfortable in all of those areas so far throughout OTAs, minicamp, and training camp, all kind of encompassing.
Well, another guy that was a draft pick that they're expecting a lot of or hoping to get something out of is Peyton Turner. Any hope of this guy making the team and actually making something of that first-round draft pick, Ross?
Yeah, I would say that there's definitely a desire and there is hope that exists, but I don't know that I could say that there's hope that it will happen, right? I think that it's tough when you've got a guy who has shown you all the talent. I mean, we've seen the flashes in terms of what it is that he's able to bring. It hasn't consistently really been a question of, can he be an impact player or can he bring some impact to his team? It has been, can he stay on the field? And that's a really hard question to answer without actually doing it. And so we're talking about a guy that has played no more than 170 defensive snaps in any season so far since he's been drafted. They declined his fifth-year option. He's going into a contract year. This is the most important year of Peyton Turner's future, not his career so far, anything like that. It's about his future and looking forward. The big thing has to be, can he stay on the field? And when he stays on the field, can he continue to show the flashes? If he can do that, then yes, there's an opportunity to make something of that first-round pick. Maybe not full first-round pick value in terms of player talent return and production return and things like that. But if you can get a guy that can give Cam Jordan 6 fewer reps in the first half so that he's 6 reps fresher at the end of a game in a key moment, then there's value in that. And so I think that's really what you're looking for right now when it comes to Peyton Turner, who today, by the way, was really the first time that he caught my eye on a lot of positives so far today. Now let's see if it's something that he can continue to string together more consistently.
I know I asked you day one about Chase Young, but I feel like, Ross, as we keep doing this, I'm going to ask you more and more about him just because that's for all the obvious reasons, right, why he's interesting.
Yeah.
So through 3 days, anything of note?
Yeah, I think one of the things that's been really great about watching Chase is how much they move him around. He's played kind of rushing over off of that Cam Jordan over the right tackle side. He's also moved into the right defensive side over the left tackle, which is typically where Carl Granderson has been. And there's also moments where you can kind of see him take inside angles on his rushes, where instead of him taking on tackles, he's bringing some inside pressure, trying to take on some guards. And I think that might be in preparation of what I think will be a very, very fun piece of this New Orleans Saints defense to potentially watch, which is going to be the 3 defensive end sets. When you can get Cam Jordan, Carl Granderson, and Chase Young all on the field at the same time, run stunts, take somebody from the outside, have them twist to the inside, have the guy from the inside wrap around, bring a little bit of this chaos to these opposing offensive lines with a lot of speed and 3 guys that have that speed and power conversion. I think the big thing that stands out when it comes to Chase is his physique. He looks like what the New Orleans Saints love, the prototypical defensive end, but I think that he brings a little bit more speed and kind of introduces that element to the New Orleans Saints pass rush, which is something that they miss now that they don't have a guy like Zach Vaughn around. And so they've been supplementing a little bit of that speed presence with guys like Chase Young, as well as, of course, Willie Gay at the second level, who's also been kind of contributing some pass rush around the edge.
Yeah, you said yesterday Willie Gay was a guy that caught your eye. Who is maybe a play of the day today out of practice?
Yeah, I think the play of the day today comes to Chris Olave. I thought Cedric Wilson was pretty close. He made a diving catch with Kool-Aid McKinstry, rookie cornerback, draped all over him. Great coverage, but just a better throw from Derek Carr and a better catch by Cedric Wilson. But for me, it was Chris Olave down the left sideline. He and Derek Carr constantly talking and communicating with one another. Those two ended up hooking up on a deep pass down the left sideline with Alontae Taylor in coverage. Back shoulder placement, Chris Olave going up, 50-50 ball contested catch type situation, and he was able to come down with it. Chris Olave was, and then he got up, and him and Jonathan Abram kind of jawed back and forth a little bit, a little bit of chippiness or chirpiness, if you will, between the offense and defense. So it's just driving a lot of competition when a guy can go up there one-on-one and make a big play like that. And that's why I think Chris Olave deserves kind of a play of the day recognition today.
Hey, last thing before you go, I haven't really asked much outside of Fuanga about rookies, either the draft picks or the UDFAs. Again, I know it's 3 days, and I'm not trying to ask for wide-ranging, takeaways, but anybody catching your eye among the rookies?
I know I just mentioned, him being draped all over Cedric Wilson, and Cedric Wilson still making a catch. But look, Kool-Aid McKinstry has probably been the most impressive rookie for me so far throughout camp. He is just a physical dude. There was, I mentioned earlier they were kind of running those one-on-one drills, but without an actual pass. So it was just offense. Wide receivers and corners just matching up with one another. Kool-Aid McKinstry absolutely stonewalled A.T. Perry at one point right off the line of scrimmage. He is just a big physical dude, loves to get his hands on a receiver, loves to play that press man corner system. He is such a good fit for what it is that Dennis Allen wants to do here in New Orleans, and he has had several other standout moments, different plays and things like that through, team drills, 7-on-7s, things like that. He has been the guy on that rookie class that has stood out most consistently to me by making some big plays.
He is Ross Jackson. If you are not subscribed to Locked On Saints, what are you doing? Favorite podcast app or YouTube? Go subscribe to Locked On Saints. Make sure you follow him on Twitter as well, at Ross Jackson Nola. Boots on the ground coverage there from Irvine for as long as the Saints are out there through the middle of August. Hey, man, we appreciate it. We'll visit Monday, okay?
Absolutely, dude. Take care, stay safe, and have a good weekend.
Thanks, man. You do the very same. That's Ross Jackson. This is After Further Review, Friday shows brought to you by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Hey, I mentioned that we had our Parish meeting. We have so Parish Construction Roofing, our partners, the five of us. We meet every Friday, and I was over there today, and Richard Tilley was. I was showing him something on my phone, sitting across the table, and he's grabbing his readers and putting them on and taking them off and holding the phone and holding it away from him. I said, man, you look like Jimmy out at that restaurant a couple years ago. He said, man, I need to go see Dr. Blake Williamson. I said, yeah, you do. He's like, they could do something for me? I said, yeah, man, you need the readers, you need the light on your phone to see the menu in a dark place. It's prime candidate for that custom lens replacement. That's what Jimmy Ott did. I told you the story before, but Ott and I were at Media Days a few years back in Atlanta, and we went over to Bistro Nico, and Ott's a foodie, and I just like, hey, just the menu is French. I'm like, just order whatever. But he's sitting there, he's got his readers at the end of his glasses. He's got the phone with the flashlight on his phone, doing this, like trying to read the flashlight or read the menu in the restaurant. And so I was laughing at him, but I guess that's just part of aging. But Ott went to the Williamson Eye Center, got that custom lens replacement, doesn't need the readers, doesn't need the flashlight to see the menu anymore. It doesn't matter your age or your refractive issue, man. There's something for everyone. And Dr. Blake Williamson is so good. One of the things Tilly was telling me, he said, man, I get freaked out a little bit about my eyes and lasers. I said, hey, it was the same thing for me. There were two reasons why I put off LASIK for so long. One is people said, oh, you're not a candidate. But two was, man, I was just afraid of putting a laser on my eye. And Dr. Blake walked me through the whole thing. LASIK is the most successful, safest elective procedure in the history of mankind. So, and you've got the absolute best in Dr. Blake Williamson. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Man, we've had a really good show so far. We've been jam-packed. No Terrio today. The Terrios were down in Orlando. The Terrio girls were playing in a national soccer tournament. It came up just short, but it's really weird how it was all structured. They outscored their opponents 12-1, but they lost one game 1-0, and so they were eliminated. It was really weird how they did it in pool play. I know, right? But anyway, they stopped at Disney on the way back, so that's where they are. So Ryan will be back next Friday. We're looking forward to that. But, man, thanks to Ronnie Rantz was here in hour one. Jake Butt, former Michigan tight end from the Big Ten Network, was here in hour two. We talked to Kendall Rogers about the new scholarship limits and what that means for college baseball. Really good convo with Kendall. Appreciate that very much. Thanks to Ross Jackson just there. When we come back, I'm excited about this. Earlier this week, we talked to Ashton Larson, who's playing up in the Cape, LSU outfielder. Well, DJ Primeaux, from Central, lefty, redshirted his freshman year at LSU, and then this past year pitched just 3 2/3 innings. A big part of the problem for DJ getting the innings, man, is LSU had 9 left-handed pitchers a year. It was just hard to get innings. Well, he is tearing it up in the Cape, and we're going to go up to the Cape and visit with DJ Primeaux when we come back. We're glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Man, I'll tell you, with the weekend here, I know what I'm going to be doing all weekend long. I'm going to be out by the pool. And if that's something that you've dreamt about, Duplessis Builders can make it happen. Call Derek Duplessis, the gang over there at Duplessis Builders. You want to build and design your backyard paradise, they can help over at Duplessis Builders. Go to duplessisbuilders.net, duplessisbuilders.net. Actually, when we moved into our home, the home had a pool already, but it was very dated, so we had to go through a remodel. If you're thinking about that process as well, you want to update your dated pool, call Duplessis Builders. Let them go through the whole design process with you, and you can understand why their custom and quality of work sets Duplessis Builders apart. As a matter of fact, they go to painstaking lengths to make sure that their work is exemplary standard. That's why they give a 10-year workmanship warranty when the industry standard is 1 year. It's duplessisbuilders.net. Online, duplessisbuilders.net.
Value Ford has $10,000 off F-150. $10,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150. And all new Value Ford vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Value Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
A lot of Tigers tearing it up in the Cape this summer. One of them is left-handed pitcher DJ Primeaux with the Brewster Whitecaps. Good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. DJ, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Man, it's our pleasure. What's the best part of leaving Louisiana for the summer and living on the Cape?
I think that's pretty obvious. The weather, for sure. The weather is phenomenal up here. I mean, yeah, it's wonderful.
It's not here. I don't know when the last time you were in Baton Rouge, but it's like heat index of 110. It rains every day. So stay there for as long as you can. What's the worst part about living up there for the summer?
Probably being so far away from home. just missing all of my family and friends. But, we'll get to see them eventually. Just doing the best I can out here.
Well, man, from all indications, you're doing more than just the best you can is plenty good enough there for Brewster. You've been one of the stories so far in the Cape. What is working so well for you this summer?
Yeah, I think, I always had the great stuff and the right profiles of my pitches, but I think the biggest thing I've been able to do here is just command the baseball better and be able to read hitters. I think one of the great things that we've been able to do over here is call our own games. And so we're able to, be able to read hitters and make adjustments. And I think overall it helps you become a better pitcher.
That's fascinating. So obviously Coach Yeski's calling pitches for you here in Baton Rouge, but would you like that opportunity to, I guess it's just on a personal level, would you like the opportunity to call your own game there at LSU if you had the opportunity?
The Cape and LSU are two different places for sure. I mean, at LSU, we have unlimited access to all the correct scouting reports and analytics and everything. They do a great job over there. So, I fully trust whatever they call at LSU. Just here, I'm trying to get better and, learn for myself. I feel like that has really been a big part of my success. And I think I'll be able to bring that over to LSU and be able to connect with Coach Yeski and be able to come up with a good plan to attack hitters.
Did you call your own games in high school?
Sort of. I would take what the coach said, and then, if we would, talk about it, might shake here or there, but for the most part.
Have you ever gotten a coach mad at you when you shook him off?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right, give me a story. I got to get one that comes to mind.
Okay, so we had, I guess here, they did call pitches. They call pitches in certain moments in the game where, if the matchup is correct or the numbers match up, they'll call a certain pitch if, it matches up against the hitter well. Well, sometimes you don't do that, and it comes back to bite you. So that's happened a few times, but, it's part of learning.
No doubt, man. It's interesting, too, whenever you were talking about what's worked so well for you there in the Cape, I thought you were going to say it's really just been the opportunity to get innings. I mean, you redshirted on the championship team, and then, obviously this last year, 3 2/3 innings pitched over the course of the season. Last year was odd. You're a lefty, and you had 9 lefties on the staff last year. It's just an outlier to have that many. How much of it is that DJ's just having the opportunity to get innings this summer?
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, it was. This year was great. I definitely think I need to improve after where I was in the season. I feel like I was in a good spot, but there's always room for improvement. So yeah. Definitely being able to get innings has contributed to it. But, it's not all about getting the innings. It's what you do with those innings and the stuff you work on. So that's really what I've focused on.
DJ Primeaux is our guest, LSU lefty, of course, from nearby Central, up with the Brewster Whitecaps in the Cape this summer. He's tearing it up. When you left LSU for the summer, what was that conversation, your exit interview? What was that conversation like with Jay Johnson?
Yeah, it was very good, very enlightening. He explained that I have a great future here, and that going to where I am now is really big for my career, and that I should just take advantage of it and enjoy every moment and become a better pitcher so I can arrive back later this fall in a better spot.
Yeah, I would assume as a kid you grew up a big LSU fan, being from the area, right?
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah. That's like if it's you, or obviously you have the opportunity to play, but as a kid playing ball, of course everybody wants to play for LSU. But you go 2 years and you saw 14 teammates hit the portal this year. Did you consider leaving at all?
No.
Yeah.
No, sir. I feel like I made a commitment to this university, so I feel like this place means a lot to me, and I want to, represent the state of Louisiana in a great way. So I want to stay put and figure myself out and become the best I can.
Well, there's only 4 lefties on the roster for next season, so obviously you're going to have to take on an increased role. Have you thought about what you'd like that role to be in 2025?
Yeah, I've been able to, being here and stuff, I think I've gotten a good idea. I mean, I would definitely like to extend more, instead of having those 1 or 2 hitters, possibly have 1 or 2 innings, maybe 3 or 4, depending on the situation of the game. And, I'm really just going to do whatever the coach needs me to do at the end of the day.
How do you think, DJ, that – I mean, obviously you've talked about it a little bit, but in what ways do you think physically you've improved from when you showed up on campus to now? Meaning, like, have you seen – is it velo? Is it spin rate? Is it command? Like, what are the ways that you feel like you have physically improved from when you showed up on campus to now?
It's every single aspect of pitching, the mental game, anything you could think of that has to do with baseball. I feel like I've gotten better since I've been here. And, they're doing something very special. And I think if I stick to the course and do what I need to do, good things will happen.
Hey, man, before you go, one of the things that I love, I knew if I ever got a chance to talk to you, I would ask you about this. So, obviously, you'll win the national championship a year ago, and there's the big dog pile, and you're pretty prominent there in all the videos of the dog pile. Do you have pictures of that on the wall? Like, do you see yourself in sports bars or restaurants all over town or anything like that with the dog pile pic?
Yes, I do, actually. It's pretty funny. I was just right place, right time, I guess. But, that's pretty neat. I'll be a part of that picture forever, so it's pretty sweet.
It's so good, man. It'd be even better if you get another one before your time in Baton Rouge ends.
Yeah, for sure.
Good start to it this summer there in Brewster up there in the Cape. He's DJ Primeaux, LSU lefty, be coming back to Baton Rouge for a 3rd season with Jay Johnson's Tigers. Hey, man, best of luck the rest of the summer, man. We appreciate you for taking a couple of minutes today.
All right. Thank you all very much for having me.
Yes, sir. That is DJ Primeaux. We're brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. They help Louisianians buy land, but they can finance property in Mississippi too. They got an office down in Thibodaux, so if you're buying land in Mississippi, but you want to do business with someone in Louisiana, First South Farm Credit can help you do that. If you want the 20 acres in St. Francisville or 200 acres in Mississippi, First South Farm Credit can help. They're your first call. It's First South Farm Credit. You want that 10 acres on Hoosiatu, Pride, Watson, St. Francisville, Clinton, Zachary. You want that acreage to build your family's dream home, maybe that hunting property. And a lot of people who buy land are already landowners. So, maybe you use equity in your current land to buy that new property. They got so many options. First South Farm Credit for more than 100 years, since 1916. They've helped Louisianians buy land. They're your first option, your first call. They've been first in agriculture for 100 years in Louisiana. Your first call, your first option should be First South Farm Credit. Go to firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com. Yeah, it's interesting talking to DJ and following what he's been doing in the Cape so far this summer because, like we mentioned, 3 2/3 innings all season. But he's dominating the best wooden bat league in the country. So it gives you great hope for next year because, you lose all of your left-handed pitching, all of your effective contributing left-handed pitching. You've got Cade Anderson coming back, and you're very excited about him, and Primeaux's the only other one returning. You got JUCO coming in, and then the freshman you flip from A&M, and that's it. So to go from 9 to 4 is probably more in line with what you'd expect to see in a given year as far as the number of lefties. 9 was just so much excess from the left side, but DJ Primeaux's showing he's a guy that they're probably going to be able to count on next year from the left side out of the bullpen. So good stuff. We appreciate DJ for taking a couple of minutes here. All right. It's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Still a lot that I want to get into, including some LSU football projections for the season. Feinbaum was on First Take talking about LSU earlier today. We'll get a little bit of that in as well. A lot to do, and we'll wrap up with what we learned and ask us. So if you want to get a question for me, for Paulie, from you can get it. You can email us, tweet us, or text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Little Ask Us coming up in about 15 minutes. Stick around. It's Friday edition of AFR.
AFR.
And I love telling you about Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics, proud locally owned family business in Louisiana for 42 years. They're here. Their facility is here. They're from the area. They hire local talent through all levels of their business over at Action Industries. So if you're a maintenance manager, if you're a turnaround coordinator, know that Action Industries is here. Highway 30 in Geismar. Their office in Belrose as well. They're ASME certified. If you're the petrochemical refinery markets, you know how important it is that these businesses, these contractors have an exemplary safety record. And it's the first thing clients want to know always is, what's your safety record? Well, they are TRIR and EMR that measure safety. They beat the industry standard. It's incredible what they're able to do over at Action Industries and what they've done for more than 40 years. And, of course, because they rely on repeat business, they have to perform for their clients. That's how they've been able to stay open for 40 years now. It's Action Industries. Check them out online. It's Action Industries.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. So it's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Go.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
You know, for as long as NIL has been live, I've mentioned this, and it's not my original thought. It's a conversation that I had with David Fleshman, attorney David Fleshman, who you've heard on the show, with Brazil Saxey here in Baton Rouge. He does NIL law, among other things. But Fleshman went to Dunham and was a walk-on John Brady's Final Four basketball team. And when Pixley and I were doing the NIL podcast, Fleshman came on, and we had this conversation about the inevitability of lawsuits if they, the powers that be, ever try to cap NIL. And so the big settlement that we've talked about for months and months now, the big settlement with the NCAA lawsuit, it was settled today. We're starting to see a lot of the details come out. Well, Pete Nakos over at On3 does a really good job. Pete highlighted this Section 4, which is mandatory student-athlete reporting. This is in the settlement. And he notes that collectives are going to hate this because, according to the settlement, all third-party NIL deals of $600 or more must be approved by a clearinghouse that will vet the contracts. If it's not approved, a new third-party arbiter could deem athletes ineligible, or a school could be fined. I'm going to oversimplify this. Collective does a deal with an athlete for more than $600, they got to report it. If it's not approved, third-party arbiter could deem him ineligible. The conversation, to bring it home with the conversation with Fleshman, the conversation we had when NIL went live, and I asked the question, hey, could they ever just cap NIL? He said the lawsuits are already drawn. If they ever try to cap NIL, the lawsuits are already drawn. How do you determine what someone's market value is? The market decides. Now, that's going to be litigated, and it's going to happen. By the way, so Pete Nakos tweeted that, and Olivia Dunn's mom, Catherine Dunn, went and replied to Pete Nakos' tweet. And she wrote, NIL is about giving athletes the same rights as every other student on campus to their own name, image, and likeness. Unless everyone needs to report payments of $600 for approval, this is incredibly unfair. The market determines NIL value, not a third party. Hey, look, there are people, and I've had so many people over the years of NIL who disagree with NIL say, man, that high school player hasn't done anything. He's not worth X. He's not worth $100,000, $500,000, whatever. Says who? I mean, do you realize there are human beings that pay millions of dollars for a little piece of cardboard with an athlete's picture on it? Do you realize that? It's a little piece of cardboard with an athlete's picture on it. Who determined that's worth millions of dollars? The market determined it. If someone is willing to pay a price for something, that is the fair market value. If you have collectives, boosters, whomever, willing to spend money on NIL deals to get DeCorian Moore to Oregon or Jaden Rashada to Florida, or what, understand, yes, it doesn't mean you would pay it or I would pay it. But if there's someone who will, that's the market value for it. Get ready. The lawsuits are coming. $600. Woo. I mean, what feels like a 2 steps forward day, getting this lawsuit settled, with that feels like 5 steps back. Because all that is going to do, all that paragraph, all that section of that lawsuit is going to do is breed more lawsuits. Let me know how you're feeling. If you got any feedback. Brought to you by Parish Restoration. Patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. As a matter of fact, I told you a bit ago that we were contacted over at Parish by a hotel owner, said they're having roof issues, had water getting in through the roof. That's always a possibility, be it at a commercial building or at your home. If you have water getting into your home with all the humidity and heat in South Louisiana, it's probably going to create mold. So if you want to kill mold, remove odor, kill other harmful pathogens, sanitize a space, medical building, hospital, medical clinic, schools, have them come dry fog from Parish. It's easy, it's safe, it's affordable, it's cost-effective, and it's going to be certainly more convenient for you. I mean, you're not ripping out sheetrock or carpet. You're not moving furniture. You come in, they'll spray their patented non-toxic dry fog. As soon as the fog dissipates, boom, you're back in free, clear, clean-smelling, mold-free building. It's Parish Restoration. Same website. Go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Hit the restoration tab and get all the info right there about Jim Woodworth and the gang over at Parish Restoration, parishbuilt.com. So we shared with you last hour. By the way, less than 10 minutes from right now, we'll get to Ask Us. So me, Paulie Muse, you got a question for us, ask us anything about anything. Email us, tweet us, text us. Kibi, our intern, is here as well. Collegiate athlete, volleyball player over at Southeastern. So if you want to ask about, I don't know, Olympic volleyball, we could do that as well. You can get your questions in. Our friends over at SEC Unfiltered have put out their their record projection for LSU. They do have LSU going 10-2. Starting 8-0, and then back-to-back losses to Alabama and Florida, following up with wins against Vandy and Oklahoma. I would say if LSU goes 10-2 with that schedule, or with the 10-2 like that, I think they'd be a playoff team. Now, the head-to-head loss to Alabama would be tough, but the head-to-head win over Ole Miss getting you to 10-2 means Ole Miss likely loses their home game to Georgia as well. So if Ole Miss loses to Georgia and LSU 10-2, and you got a head-to-head win against Ole Miss. So I think you'd probably be in under that scenario. I don't think LSU loses the back-to-back games to Bama and Florida, as you all well know. I've said that often. I haven't really decided where I fall on LSU yet this year as far as a record. Someone asked me that this morning, what I think my pick's going to be for LSU. And I don't know the answer to that. And I want to see him first, and I'll tell you why. The first day of fall camp last year for LSU, I remember going out, and LSU was running a drill, and I'll tell you why I remember this so vividly. And they were running the receiver against DB drills. And so it was just quarterback, no line of scrimmage, just receivers, DBs on the outside, and it was just, one-on-one. And the offense so thoroughly dominated that drill. And you'll go out there and you'll see some 50-50. You'll see some drop passes. You'll see some, some pass breakups. You'll see some catches and some stuff like that. But it was like if I charted 20 reps, it was like 18-2, and one of the two was a drop where the receiver had actually beaten the DB. It was overwhelming. And I remember I left practice and went and did a practice report on the show with Charles and Jimmy, who are the lunchtime show. For those out of market, that's Charles Handegriff, Jimmy Ott. They're on the lunchtime show in Baton Rouge. And I remember Jimmy kind of recoiling and saying, man, the defense is always ahead of offense at the beginning of camp. And he's right. And the fact that the offense was so overwhelming on the defense certainly spoke to how good the offense was. And they were great. But equally how bad that defense was, and they never got better. So I want to see. I want to see what it looks like. Because if I go out there the first day and it looks similar with a new quarterback, no Neighbors, no Thomas, and all of your DBs are back, and you've added new players, and you're still getting torched that way, that will be a very unsettling feeling. So after I see those first couple days, certainly the first day to be sure, I'll have a much better feeling about my thoughts on what I'm going to pick LSU. But I hover, I teeter back and forth. I think everybody's kind of in that 9-3, 10-2 range. I do think LSU beats Alabama in Baton Rouge this year. I've said that. I think Bama loses 3. I think they lose to Georgia and at Tennessee, at LSU. I think those are Bama's 3 losses this year. I think they go 9-3. I haven't quite decided yet where I think LSU falls. I think the back-to-back at Arkansas, at A&M is a really tricky spot for LSU. I do think at Florida the week after Bama, emotional letdown spot on the road in Gainesville. That's a really tough spot for LSU as well. Oklahoma could be dangerous. Ole Miss is obviously going to be a really good team. The opener against Southern Cal. Look, Paul Feinbaum was on First Take earlier today, and I think he was actually spot on about this, about how big that game is in Vegas for both LSU and SC.
The loser better watch out. We're talking about LSU and Southern Cal in Vegas. Now, I think we've hashed out the Lincoln Riley situation ad nauseum, but imagine losing that game. I guess he'll try the, well, I'm not a magician line again, Molly, that you like so much. But what about the other side of that? Brian Kelly, he better win that game. Brian Kelly has done a really nice job, but he left Notre Dame a couple of years ago to win a national championship. And last year, the losses started piling up, but with a terrible defense. It sounds familiar for Lincoln Riley, even with a generational quarterback in Jaden Daniels. So that is the game to keep your eye on week one.
It's so true. I mean, the winner keeps playoff hopes alive, but the loser of that game, both fan bases are looking, going like, what do you have to do? If LSU loses, that's 5 straight season openers you've lost, and now your playoff hopes are on life support because you really only have one more game that you could feel comfortable as far as a margin for error. But if you win that game, now everything starts to line up for LSU. We've talked about it plenty. If LSU can get to 5-0 going into their open date before being home against Ole Miss, when Ole Miss will be playing the second of a back-to-back, that is just a massive spot. But LSU has to cooperate. You got to get to that game at 5-0. And that starts, obviously, with being able to beat SC in Vegas in the opener. Okay, y'all, it's After Further Review. Friday show is brought to you by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Final break. We'll come back, wrap up with a little Ask Us. Get your questions in for me, for Paulie, for Muse, for Kibi. You got anything, you can ask us anything about anything. We'll wrap up with that next on AFR.
AFR.
Weekend is here. You're going to be hanging out by the pool, throwing some meat on the grill. Make sure you get by Rouse's. You want those steaks for the grill? Rouse's. Amazing selection of USDA prime beef. Maybe you want a piece of fish on the half shell. Of course, throw on the grill. Rouse's has a great seafood selection over there as well. You want something already prepared? No worries. Grab-and-go options, the hot and boiled kiosks as well. And if you're making groceries, Rouse's has been helping you do that for 100 years now. So get on by Rouse's. They'll help save you money. Always look for those Rouse's branded products. You know what they are. It's the red R with the circle logo around it. You see that Rouse's logo, you can rest assured that the Rouse's family has gone to great lengths to source everything local that they can. It's Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. How about you go shop some of their wine as well? They got the Buy 4, Save More program. The more wine you buy, the more you save. Allows you to try some maybe really interesting wines you otherwise may never try. It's over at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's. This feels like home.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Érase una vez un Infinity, diseñado para despertar tu imaginación y desafiarte a soñar, con 3 lujosas filas de asientos. El totalmente nuevo Infinity QX80 de 3 filas.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Friday edition of AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Thanks for being here with us. Great show. Remember, if you miss anything, AFR On Demand, presented by Breck Golf. You can book your tee time, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. Santa Maria, Beaver Creek, Webb, Dumas. Amazing opportunities to get out, swing the sticks this weekend. Make sure you do it at a Breck course, golf.breck.org. We did another Bama's Burning today. If you missed it, Bama lost a cornerback commit from the state of Alabama to UCF. That's the Knights, the Gus Bus, Central Florida. And it's just so easy. It's like a bee to honey. The Bama fans can't help themselves. And I don't know, maybe I'm super immature for continuing to do this, but I really don't care. Like, at what point do I stop doing it? Maybe I stop doing it when they stop giving me the reaction.
Exactly what I was going to say.
But they keep giving me the reaction every time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so much fun to just read through my mentions at their melt. And then the LSU fans get in and start laughing at them. So good.
They're very fragile right now, Alabama fans. I guess you could really say they've always been very fragile.
It's just that, like...
Fans in general are very fragile.
Yeah, but the thing for Bama is that they've been at such a perch of superiority for so long. And it's, for the first time ever, it's being challenged or questioned. And they just don't know how to handle it. Because I think deep down they know the reality that they're facing as well. And that's really funny. So I'll keep doing it. All right, let's get out of here. Muse, what'd you learn today?
DJ Primeaux, he's calling his own games up in the Cape.
How about that? Excited about him next year.
So am I.
This summer's got me really excited about it. Paulie, what'd you learn?
I learned that Ronnie Rantz ordered his own Ronnie Rantz jersey.
He did.
That's true.
China. He did that.
What did you learn, Matt?
Jake Butt is a big T-Bob fan. He said, my guy, T-Bob. He said, you do radio with my guy, T-Bob? I think so much less of Jake Butt today.
AFR.
All right, have a great weekend. As we get on down the road, remind you about Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. More than 30 offices across a dozen different states. You know where to find them online at Michelli.com. With locations, of course, 6 of them all across Louisiana. If you weigh or measure something, Michelli sells, services, and rents the products that you use to weigh and measure. So go to Michelli.com to learn more, to find the office nearest you. You can take a look at all the services that they offer by going to the website, hitting the services tab. Like, most companies know that Michelli is our nation's largest distributor of scales. Like, most people know Michelli for that. But all of the different calibration services that they offer, that's something where people will go to the website and hit the services tab and then realize, oh, I didn't realize you did that. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. ISO 17025 accreditation is available. Check them out online at Michelli.com. That's Michelli.com for Michelli Weighing and Measurement.
Value Ford has $10,000 off F-150. $10,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150. And all new Value Ford vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Value Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. So it's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like